0.8%, closing at 48,501. And the NASDAQ slipped 1%, closing at 22,516.
All eyes still on Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Middle East region.
That's right. Market volatility continued today as investors assess this evolving situation in Iran. President Trump announced this afternoon that the U.S. Navy will escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz if necessary, which can help calm energy markets. Despite that assurance, oil prices continue to surge, with Brent crude futures jumping 5.7% today to settle at $82.16 per barrel.
That is Stifel, Director of Investments, Eric Robert. Thank you. That's the Wall Street Wrap on KMOX.
Weather patterns are stuck with a strong southwest flow picking up moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. We'll continue to see periods of showers and a couple of thunderstorms overnight tonight. But again, the key, it's not raining all the time. 50 for the low. Wednesday, periods of showers, a couple of thunderstorms. Some could be on the strong side in the afternoon, especially to our south. 65 for the high. Still unsettled Wednesday night. Thursday, a mix of clouds and sunshine with periods of rain, and 71. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's a cloudy sky right now, 54 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
No major delays on my watch this afternoon. We have a few more emergency vehicles up with the stalled bus eastbound on Highway 270 at 367. The right lane is now blocked, as is the right shoulder. Westbound on 64, pockets of volume passing Forest Park. Southbound 170, those pockets of volume as well. Make your way south of the Parkway, headed towards Highway 64. Southbound 270, not bad this afternoon. A little off the pace approaching Ladue. South of there, a good run towards Highway 44 and 55. The only other heavier pocket is southbound on 55, headed through that roadwork construction zone through South City. I'm Frank Ladd on the michaelsflooringoutlet.com Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou, with your home sold guaranteed realty, 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou, with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Guys, welcome into Tuesday here on Redbird Rush Hour. I almost said Monday because it feels like a Monday to me. Good to be with you guys, though. It's a good Monday because this beats the hell out of what I was doing for the last 4 days, moving across country. That's not fun. Talking sports is fun, and happy to do that with my buddy Matt Pauley, and we'll kick things off with our spring training report.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens, and making memories. And by Happy Roof, we always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
All right, Matt Pauley, obviously an off day from game action today. There's always still a little activity around camp usually, but not much. Off day usually means guys are going to stay home. They're going to be with their families. They're going to go golfing. It's more like a few people here and there. It's not like organized anything.
Yeah, I think they want the players to go breathe for a day. Because now from here to the end of camp, it's just nonstop go.
Yeah.
So this is the one day since the day after the Super Bowl for pitchers and catchers, and like a week and a half after that for the position players. It has been just nonstop. So a good day. It's good to get this off day in here. I think everybody is able to enjoy it. And it's a weird week though, because you have the off day.
Yeah.
You play the Nicaraguan WBC team tomorrow, and then you play 2 games on the other side of the state on Thursday and Friday. And for people who don't know how that works, there's going to be a group of players that get on a bus and go for both games.
Yes.
There's going to be another group of players that comes back on a bus after the first game on Thursday. And then there's going to be another group of players that goes out on Friday just for the one single game. So there's still activity at the complex here. The clubhouse is open. So it's, there's a lot going on here. There's stuff going on there. So it's just a weird week between the WBC and the 2 games across the state.
Anything else we should be talking about today, Matt? I know you and Bernie covered a lot. I do have some thoughts on the Marmol extension. I know you guys did that yesterday, but I haven't had my time. So we'll do that in a little bit. But anything else we should be talking about from camp today? or not today, but just over the last few days.
It's fun. Just real quick. When you leave, stuff happens. This is like the second time you took some time off in the middle of the offseason.
All the trades happened when I was,
and then boom, stuff happens. So now we know what it is. If we need the Cardinals to do something of note, just get Wheeler out of here.
Here's a quick hint for you. The third weekend of this month. So the 20th through the 23rd, I'm also out. So something will happen.
Clearly and obviously, yes.
And that's real close to opening day, too. So, something will be going on. There'll be news of some sort.
But, I mean, to answer your question, I know we're going to touch on a few things, but there's really – it's a normal camp. There's a lot of positivity, and I think I'm getting caught – I talked about this today when I was on with the guys for Gas House Gang.
Yeah.
In some ways, I think I'm getting kind of caught up in the positivity because it's just such a good environment, and it seems like almost everything that happens is more positive than negative. Even look, they had one run and one hit 2 games ago, and then they didn't have any hits for the first 5 or 6 innings yesterday. But you talk to people, and you're looking more at approach than results. And the approach that guys are taking at the plate seems to be something that everybody's happy with. So good things all the way around.
See, that's a good jumping off point, because what this really has to be is for all of us to evaluate, for all of us to talk about what we should be looking at is very simply what you're talking about, process. When the results are secondary, and I know that's weird for fans to think of, but that's what rebuilds are, whether the team wants to call it that or not. I mean, when you trade off your older players and your expensive players and your upcoming free agents, and you're going with a lot of young guys, that's what a rebuild is. This isn't a teardown. This isn't a tank job. That's a different thing. What the Cubs and the Astros did back in the day was a tank job. That's not this. This is a different version. It's the smarter, kind of more level-headed version of doing that. That's what it is. And I think the positivity makes sense for a lot of reasons. One, you need to maintain a positive attitude when you're about to embark on what could be somewhat difficult. It's not going to be the most entertaining baseball season you've seen from a one-loss standpoint. And the other part of it is there's energy and excitement because for the players, Matt, these are opportunities. These are guys that are like, this is my opportunity. Dustin May, this is my opportunity to get really paid. The young guys, this is my opportunity to prove that I belong. So from the players' standpoint, the positivity is absolutely going to be there, and I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, and you talk to everybody, and that seems to be the general consensus. And Matt just sent in and said it's a tear down, it's a rebuild too, but we tore it down.
No,
a tear down is a 60-win team, and I know there's people out there that think this is going to be a 60-win team. This is barring something crazy happening. It's not a 60-win team. It's a competitive team that's probably in the neighborhood of 500. Probably a little bit under, unless something weird happens in one way or the other. What you mentioned, Kevin, and there's legit big leaguers. They have a Silver Slugger. They have a Gold Glove Award winner. If it's a complete teardown, they're not signing Dustin May for $12 million or $15, however much they paid him. If it's a complete teardown, you're not signing Ryan Stanek.
You go with all kids. You go with the cheapest possible options and all this. That's what a teardown is. That's what the tank job is.
Right. Yeah. So they still expect to be a competitive ball club. And it really does frustrate me that there's a lot, and I'm not saying this to Matt who sent in, but other people. It frustrates me that people think rebuild means non-competition. And that's not what it means.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're not going to win the World Series this year. I'm comfortable saying that. But other than that, when you're thinking about tearing down, well, let's see. Look at the guys who had the 12, 13 guys that had the most plate appearances last year. Here are the ones that are still here. Nootbaar, Burleson, Wynn, Scott, Herrera, Walker, Pies, Gorman, and Sajazi. So 3 out of your 13 most regular everyday players are gone. That's not a teardown.
No,
it's just because you traded the older and expensive guys. And in the Donovan case, you traded him because he's closer to free agency and he also got you a huge return. But And on the pitching side, what did you let go? You let go the guys that stunk. Like it's not like you got rid of your good guys. You let Miles walk. Miles wasn't good. You let Fetty walk. Fetty wasn't good. I know you traded him last year, but the point is you didn't bring him back. So if you look at your leading people in terms of innings and appearances, Palante's back, Libertor's back, McGreevy's back, Leahy, Romero, Swanson, Riley O'Brien, Gordon Griswold. Like a teardown means you're basically taking all of your proven players and getting rid of them.
Right. And one other thing real quick, MLB Pipeline released their team rankings. I don't know if you've taken a look at this, Kevin, but number 1, obviously, J.J. Weatherholt. But then after that, Liam Doyle, number 2. Rainiel Rodriguez, who really took advantage of the new systems last year, number 3. Same thing with Joshua Baez, number 4. Saintja comes in at number 5. So there's a guy that you got in the Donovan trades. That's why I bring this up. Brandon Clark is at number 9. Tanner Franklin at number 11.
Yeah.
Fajardo's at number 13. I mean, so many guys that have been brought in since Heim took over are just littering at the top 30 for the Cardinals.
So, Matt, just so you guys understand, Matt just goes through and says, well, I've been telling Tom Ackerman all year. Yeah, Matt on the stream says, I can tell Tom Ackerman all year it's not a teardown when he tells me it is, and then 5 hours later, I can argue to you guys that it is, and you tell me it isn't. KMOX, baby. Yeah, we don't have talking points, brother. We don't all see it exactly the same way. And I think practically speaking, when you're only subtracting 5-6 guys, you're not tearing it down. I'm sorry. And you only moved 2 guys that were at, 2.5 that are at a high level of performance, right? The half was Sonny Gray because Sonny is still good, but Sonny is not what he was 3 years ago. And Donovan is good, and Wilson Contreras was good. Arenado was not good. So you only moved 2.5 guys that were actually good. So what, it's not, and by the way, if Tom wants to argue that, we'll all argue about it and have fun and then have a beer later.
In aggregate, I think the rotation is going to be better this year than last year, even without Sonny Gray. The possibility of Von Herrera for a whole year if he does not get injured this season, and Alec Burleson for a whole year because he started last year on a bench. I think in many ways that neutralizes out the loss of Wilson Contreras again when you're going through the aggregate, and probably J.J. Weatherholt's production goes along with that as well. And I'm not being dismissive of what they traded away. Wilson Contreras is one heck of a baseball player.
Absolutely.
Sonny Gray's a really good pitcher. Brendan Donovan may be the guy that you don't have as much of an answer for, although we'll see what happens with Weatherholt. Donovan just brought so many other components to what he did, but he's also a guy that has recently had a hard time staying healthy. So you don't have to squint. I'm not saying they're going to be better than last year. They probably aren't, but I think they're in the neighborhood of it. But you also don't have to squint too terribly hard to see some things that can happen with this team that could result in some steps forward.
No doubt. And Matt, we know we're all cool, buddy. It's good. He said it's cool, fellas. I'm pro Ollie. Great extension. Love it. Look, dude, we're not mad. We're just trying to make sure that we're being clear on what a thing is and what it isn't. And, we'll close this portion of it, and we will talk a little bit about the Ollie extension in a second. I'll just close this portion out by just pointing out, too, that some of the guys that departed, even though they were generally good in their time here, they weren't that good in the second half last year. That second half was Donovan playing hurt. Not his fault. Well, partly his fault for not being willing to take a break. But, he and Newt being hurt and playing hurt for the second half. Sonny declined in the second half last year. So again, we're not, it's a difference. I think they were a more talented or more proven talented team last year. Maybe that's a better way to put it. They had more proven talent last year. But it's not that big of a difference when it comes to the overall talent level that's here, as you pointed out with the pitching staff. You got more guys that'll miss bats, for example. Will they be great? I don't know, but there's a really good chance that they're better than what we had last year in the rotation.
I would agree.
Awesome. All right, let's talk about the manager. You guys got a chance to talk about it a little bit yesterday. I'm not going to really relitigate all of it, but a couple of interesting things to me about the Ollie extension, and we'll get to that coming up on the other side of a quick break here on KMOX.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Well, there's a tow truck on the scene of this stalled bus eastbound on Highway 270 at 367. The good news is the right lane is no longer blocked. Everything is over on the right shoulder, so those delays are easing on eastbound Highway 270. Northbound on 170, a little pocket of IM approaching Highway 270. Southbound 170, not bad. Headed towards Highway 64. You've got your normal pocket to stop and go westbound on 64, starting at Kings Highway, out to about the Tam Avenue overpass. West of there, a pretty good run through the central corridor, headed out towards Highway 270. Southbound on 270 this afternoon, that pocket of IM is there at Ladue. South of there, not bad, headed towards Highway 44. And westbound on Highway 64, westbound on Highway 70, we are essentially delay-free through St. Charles County. And we're sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, and patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today, now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. I'm Frank Ladd in the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, back in on Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley is down in Jupiter. Kevin Wheeler with you here in St. Louis. Matt, when we were talking, I didn't see my phone. But about 10 minutes ago, our buddy Tom Ackerman texted me, and he said, hey, that March 20th to 23rd while you're gone, those are final cuts. So there you go. There's going to be news while I'm gone. There's going to be stuff while I'm gone. And that's not even counting the surprise stuff. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. Totally forgot it's that close to the regular season. That is when they do it, because right after that, you travel and boom, get on with this thing. Get this thing rolling. Let's talk Ollie. The news came down over the weekend, and obviously you guys got to talk about it. You and Bernie got to talk about it yesterday. But Ollie gets the extension through 2029. And I think the best way to look at it, I did not hear the show yesterday because I was traveling and it was chaos. But I'm guessing you guys are somewhere around this, is that we all understand this is not a move that people are going to throw a parade over and party in the streets and celebrate, because they're not in that kind of place as a team right now, right? But I think this is a smart, sensible move, and sometimes smart and sensible isn't exciting, but it is those two things to me.
Yeah, I like it. Yesterday, we probably did too much on like the fan reaction to it as the show got over. We probably could have taken that in a little bit of a different direction. But yeah, I'm fine with it. You know, I had said this yesterday. I'll just repeat it real quickly. I didn't really care if he got the extension or not this year. I was okay with the idea of him having a full year of working alongside Heim and just seeing what it looked like. But I will be honest, something that changed my mind a little bit was I heard Lance Lynn on Jim Hayes's Cardinal Territory show.
Cardinal Territory, yeah.
Yeah, and Lance actually said that it can impact players when you've got a manager who's on a lame duck contract. And as a player in the clubhouse, you want to know that your manager is locked in beyond that year. Lance would know that better than I would. I mean, that's what that kind of surprised me that he said that. I wouldn't think that players would actually care that much. But if Lance Lynn says some players care about it, then give the man the extension and let that not be a a distraction.
And let's keep in mind too. And again, I like Lance a lot. I catch him on. He's done some work on MLB Network Radio in addition to being on Cards Territory. I think he's really good, smart guy. It doesn't mean that he and I would always agree on our takes. Like, he didn't like the idea initially. He didn't like that they were rebuilding.
Right.
And I think it's necessary. But at the same time, the fact that he holds those two opinions together means he's not just shilling. You know, I mean, like, he's saying they shouldn't be doing this, critical of the team, didn't think they should have traded Arenado, didn't like a lot of that, and then obviously still saying this. So it's not like you're talking about a guy that's always just going to be like, oh, whatever the team does, it's good.
Right. And I just try to listen to people. That's why, I mean, him saying that opened up my eyes on something, and it changed my opinion a little bit. So I appreciate that. And there's some things that, you know, that was a good thing to hear from him, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to.
And again, let's just kind of walk through, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure people understand the most important, and I say people, I'm just talking about the most vocal complainers. I'm not talking about any large percentage of people, because I actually do think quite a large percentage of all fans in any market do understand realities, but the loudest tend to not. And I think it's important to, like, you know, people are all about name recognition, and they want the people that they rooted for as players to be in these positions. Well, they're not always, there's no guarantee that being a great player means you're going to be good at the next thing. And if you're thinking about this particular situation, where's Ollie's background? His background's in player development. Yeah, right. He was developing young guys. That's his entire career, moving up till he joined the staff under Mike Schilt. Like, this is what his background is. So while you're developing young players, a person who's done that and gets that is an important person to have. And even if there are things you don't like about him, like, none of us think he's perfect. He's not perfect, but I think he's pretty good. Bernie's outlined it with facts that are irrefutable, with the way that they've managed the bullpen, just as an example. I think we've all been pretty vocal about the couple of things that are annoying, like the deference to veterans is annoying. But obviously that's going to be less of a thing because you don't have as many veterans around. So, you know, that may solve itself, but it's also a learning process for a younger manager who didn't play in the big leagues. And I think, you know, some guys that are young, and by the way, I shouldn't even say that young, because Mike Schilt had that same flaw. And, you know, it was one of the few things I criticized with him too, was just too much deference. I actually had that same criticism of Mike Matheny. They wouldn't shift because their veteran pitchers didn't like it. And guess what happened? When they fired Mike Matheny and they brought in Mike Schilt, they started shifting. And what do you know? The defense suddenly got better. They started giving up fewer runs with the same people, with the same personnel. So, you know, again, it's not just one kind of manager or another that determines those things. But every manager has their flaws. I had people calling me, Matt, yelling about Tony La Russa. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just a lawyer. And then they won the World Series in 2006 and 2011. Then nothing he ever did was ever wrong.
Right. And we've well established the fact that Ollie's first 4 years and Tony's first 4 years are incredibly similar.
Yeah.
And eerily similar in the numbers, win-loss record. I think Ollie's actually a little bit ahead of Tony in the first 4 years.
Yeah, he came into a bit of a different spot because the White Sox were trash when Tony got there, but the Cardinals weren't that bad under Schilt. Obviously, in fact, there was, you know, when Schilt got fired, it was actually kind of surprising because they were good.
I'm talking about Tony's first 4 years with the Cardinals.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And so,
but even that, the Cardinals were bad when they brought him in.
They were, but they were really good in '96, and then they took a step back for a few years before they got back going again. Anyways, we don't need to relitigate this. The point of the matter is, there's a lot of managers out there that have very similar win-loss records to Ollie in their first few years, and I lament sometimes the fact that I don't think, and I think it's helped that Ollie's did Gas House Gang last year, and I hope he does that again this year. But I still don't get the sense that the overall fan base actually knows who this guy is. And if you did, I think it would maybe be a little bit of a different reaction.
Yeah, and it is a thing, especially when you're talking about a flawed roster. And that's the other part here. Like, I think the best time that we'll have a really good evaluation of him as a manager in terms of like being a difference maker in winning and losing is when you have a roster that's capable of doing the winning.
Right.
And the last couple of years, I mean, we've seen it. There's a reason why they are in this position. There's a reason why they're changing how they do things and what they value in players. They've gone from valuing pitchers who can, that are veterans who can just go give you innings to guys that can miss some bats, some upside. That like you can see the shift, and there's a reason for it. It's because the team these last few years really hasn't been good enough, and they didn't do a lot of the things they needed to do. And we will have a time where you're going to say, okay, roster's good. Now, manager, here's your time. You got to show us.
Yeah.
You got to manage it correctly. Right, exactly.
Yeah. This is a really weird analogy, and anytime you like do analogies with professional sports, generally they don't work. But Kevin, if you and I walk into a studio and our microphones don't work, and then we get fired because our ratings are terrible when we didn't have working microphones, like that wouldn't be fair to us because we didn't have working microphones.
Or if we go on the air and it sounds like this, and it's going to be really great. No,
yeah, you're right. It's a good analogy.
Oliver Marble did not have a team that was capable of winning at a high level.
No, good stuff. All right, that's Matt Pauley. I'm Kevin Wheeler. We're going to change gears a little bit. The Athletic did some polling of baseball fans. And if you guys want to chime in on this, feel free. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you can chime in. Did some polling of baseball fans about baseball's labor issues, who's at fault, what kinds of things they care about. And I thought it was interesting. We'll kick around some of that coming up after the news on KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
At 5:30, it is a cloudy sky and 53 degrees downtown at the Arch. This news update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Happening right now, Gravois is a major connector through St. Louis City, one of the most dangerous corridors, too.
It absolutely needs to be made safer for everybody, not just cyclists and pedestrians. Although when you make roads safer for cyclists and pedestrians, they automatically become safer for drivers as well.
Chantel Incadella with TrailNet says MoDOT is holding a public hearing. It's happening right now.
MoDOT listens to this feedback. They need to hear from people who live in the area, who use the Gravois regularly.
MoDOT is working on a plan for safety improvements. They'll take public comments through March 17th. That meeting started at 4, goes till 7 at the 5-Star Senior Center on Arsenal. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page says if the budget situation doesn't improve, county workers could face forced unpaid time off. Page is pushing the county council to adopt a use tax, essentially a tax on online purchases, which he says could generate between $50 and $75 million annually for the county. Without a new revenue stream, Page says the options get painful.
We may have to go to 2-week furloughs, unpaid furloughs for county employees if we don't have enough appropriation in our budget for salaries. But we don't want to have to for anyone to lose a job.
Page says the county spends 50% of its budget on public safety, and cutting police is something he wants to avoid. How many doctors in our region have ever actually seen a measles case?
I would say very few.
That's SSM Health Chief Community Health Officer Dr. Alexander Garza. You'll likely recognize the name. Garza served as the incident commander for the St. Louis Metropolitan Pandemic Task Force. Recent reports reveal many healthcare providers have never had firsthand experience with measles. Garza says there are a series of protocols in place.
If a patient has these specific complaints, meets these specific criteria, then this is how you need to handle the patient. These are, the steps you need to take. These are the tests you need to order.
Garza adds there's a heightened awareness of following those protocols because of the recent increase in cases of measles. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
It's the week to think ahead about severe weather.
Hi, this is Dave Murray. It's that time of year. The Missouri Tornado statewide drill is Wednesday, March 4th, tomorrow. This is a test of all the outside warning systems, and the test is going to happen around 11 o'clock in the morning. And this is the time to really think about what you would do if a real tornado warning were to be issued, whether you're at home, school, work, or even on the road. It's important to know ahead of time, not as the event starts to unfold. So again, the tornado drill for Missouri, 11 a.m., Wednesday, March 4th. Really think about it. Give yourself some time and kind of plan ahead.
Planning ahead with the forecast from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk. For tonight, some storms, overnight low of 50. For tomorrow, it's just an unsettled day. Periods of rain and some storms, which could be strong, especially down to the south of the city. High tomorrow, 65. Periods of rain tomorrow night, 55. And for Thursday, a mix of clouds and sun with periods of rain and a high of 71 degrees. Right now, clouds and 53 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Have you been thinking about figuring out whether or not a GLP-1 would be something that would be good for you? I've been thinking about that for a while. And finally, I went and talked to the folks at STL Weight Loss Injections. And turns out I was a great candidate for it. I'm somebody who, I live a pretty healthy lifestyle. I work out a lot. I eat pretty healthy. For whatever reason, though, I just have a really hard time losing weight, and get a little bit of help with that is nothing to be embarrassed about. So I talked to them, and I am now a client, and I also get to talk to you about them as well, which is really, really cool. They've got an amazing facility with amazing people, and they're going to give you all the options. You can do, I did the semaglutide. They also have the tirzepatide. If you can tell that I don't really know medical stuff, well, there you go. But they explained the difference between the two, and we decided that for me, semaglutide was the one that would make the most sense. It is, it's very easy to do this. You can just go to their website, stlweightlossinjections.com. Phone number's on the website at 636-244-5333. You'll sit down, you'll talk with them, and then you'll go from there as to whether or not this makes sense for you. They're not going to force anything on you that doesn't make sense. It's $199 for the first month as well. So just the barrier to entry isn't really there with them, which is great. So if you've been thinking about it, have a conversation. That's all I would encourage you to do. STLweightlossinjections.com. That's STLweightlossinjections.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Basketball fans, it is almost time for the Super Trade Day sweepstakes, and FanDuel is all about those three-pointer moments. And on March 3rd, that's 3-3. You like that? You'll have your own shot at a big win from downtown. Place a three-point wager, any three-point wager, and you'll be entered to win a share of over $3.3 million in bonus bets. Download the Sportsbook app by going to FanDuel.com/Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. Go there now to claim your profit boost to enter. It's a lot of fun and a great way to get in on the action. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Limit one entry. Profit boost bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token. Prizes issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Being first in line can be very important to homeowners. First in line for the plumber, first in line for the HVAC guy, first in line for Banner Construction. It's Banner Construction's winter home event, and you can be first in line this spring and save before the annual price increases. Banner Construction is a James Hardy and Pella Winter replacement specialist, and now is the best time to schedule a free in-home consultation with no obligation. Call 314-569-1050 or see them online and have a banner day.
Experience music, magic, story, and wonder with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Scheherazade, Magic and Myth. Feel bold energy and haunting beauty as violinist Leila Josefowitz performs Alban Berg's deeply moving Violin Concerto. Then be swept away by Scheherazade. Saturday, March 14th and Sunday, March 15th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, I'm watching crews clear an accident southbound on Highway 270, just past the Tees Road overpass. It's over right now in the exit lanes for Highway 55, the right exit lane and partially that left exit lane as well. There's a pair of exit lanes there, as well as the right shoulder. Originally, one of the vehicles was over blocking the left lane. So that has you backed up to about Tesson Ferry right now as they work to maneuver these cars over to the right shoulder and not block too many lanes. At southbound Highway 270, approaching Highway 55. That disabled bus is out of the way, long gone now, eastbound on Highway 270 and 367. Those delays are gone there as well. And we're thinning out of the city, westbound on Highway 64, passing Forest Park, southbound on 55, headed through that road construction zone. I'm Frank Ladd of the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Matt, of course, down in Jupiter. I'm in St. Louis. You guys want to chime in on anything? Obviously, you're watching on the stream. Feel free to do it. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Matt, I don't know if you saw the Athletic piece today that was done by Stephen Nesbitt, but he did a really nice job writing up what they did with some of their polling. So keeping in mind that this is polling done by like the Athletics subscribers. So these are pretty hardcore baseball fans, right? Sports, if you're subscribing to that, you're probably a hardcore sports fan, or at least near hardcore, right? If you're not like totally nuts, you're close to nuts. So they got like 14,000 responses on each of these questions about Major League Baseball's labor situation. I just wanted to run through a couple of these because I think it's interesting to see what the pretty serious sports fans think about all of this. Because we see a lot of like yelling on Twitter and angry people on Twitter, and you see a lot of people with I would say less than educated opinions. But I think this is a group of people that is going to be a little bit more in tune with, kind of the ins and outs of the sport. So 14,000 plus respondents on this, and they were asked if they're in favor of a salary cap system with a cap on a floor. 68% said yes, 27% no, 5% didn't have an opinion. Nothing surprising about that, because I think when you looked at some of the comments, it also came down to like, okay, but how? There's also the revenue sharing part. Like there's a how here, because the cap and the floor alone don't do anything. cap and the floor with widespread revenue sharing that exceeds what you have now would certainly help in perception. I'm not sure it changes the reality.
If I could hop in a DeLorean, I would be interested to see what the percentage would be on that answer if you weren't coming off a team that spends more than anybody else winning back-to-back World Series.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you a lot of fans were in favor of this in previous work stoppages, even you go back to the 90s. But I also think because, unfortunately, sometimes the issue gets clouded by Major League Baseball people, not by players, but by, sources who talk about these various things to reporters. Because, again, the cap and the floor is all fine and dandy, but if you don't have NFL-style revenue sharing, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, you've brought it up.
It just doesn't. So
there's too much of a gap on this cap and floor where it's really not accomplishing that much.
Right. I mean, again, if it's 250 to 150, that's not close.
No.
Right? The cap in the NFL is the floor is 90% of the cap. And if we can't get to that, well, then it's not going to have the effect that you want it to do. I don't really care one way or the other. I like the fact that the sports are different. I like that a baseball team can go over or go high if they want to, with punishments for it, with penalties for it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I love that. And I hate that sometimes in the NFL, you got to watch your team cut your favorite players because they can't afford them under the cap anymore.
And the NBA has actually done some things to try to incentivize
teams keeping their own guys,
to keep their own players, where essentially it's not counting as much against the cap if it's one of your own guys. But the NBA financial system is the most complicated thing in the world.
Their cap is nuts.
You got the mid-level exception. They got 9 million exceptions. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, and look at the NHL as an example. The floor's pretty high, so that's good, but everybody's capped out. It limits player movement. It really locks you into a spot. The Blues are kind of stuck. They couldn't do, if they wanted to, they couldn't be like, all right, we'll suck it up for a year or two and go above our budget number to get better. They can't do it. Mm-mm. You're stuck. So be careful what you wish for in that regard. But I think that was a pretty expected response. The response to the question about who the blame gets. So where does the blame for the payroll disparity go? Again, over 14,000 respondents. Only 2% blame the players.
Good.
I thought that was, that's a wild change from past issues.
Yeah.
And 57% put it on the owners. Now, I think these are the smarter people. I think that's smart too, but 36% put it on both. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair thing. I'm not sure I would be in the 2% because players are only getting money if owners are willing to spend it. Nobody's holding a gun to anybody's head and forcing anything. So I put the disparity on owners because revenue sharing is on owners, right? They could come together and put something together that says, hey, we're all going to have the same amount of money. I don't think the Players Association is going to fight that.
We would have to get into the details of it. But
sure. But again, the problem with the way that the Players Union sees it now is that we're talking about, okay, we're going to put in a cap, and you're going to put in a floor, but they're going to be so far apart, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah, all it's going to do is
it's just going to suppress salaries.
Right.
And what it's going to do, by the way, is really hose the middle players again, because the stars are always going to get their money.
Yes.
Because they're in demand, and that's how it works. And that's going to mean the middle class gets stepped on.
And they've been getting stepped on for years,
yes.
Kevin.
That's why there's so many young players in the league.
Yeah, because if you can get 90% of production or 80% of production from a pre-arb player compared to a legit major league free agent, but then you're going to spend 1/10, 1/15 of how much it's going to cost. So many teams and so many owners want to go in that direction.
And then the last part of this for us anyway, to close it out, is over 14,000 respondents again. Do you think Major League Baseball will miss games because of a lockout in 2027? This is the problem. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but this is a problem. 77% of fans are saying yes. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all because I think this is an issue where Major League Baseball kicks itself in the shins every time this comes up.
Yeah,
they always paint the worst possible picture. Owners we're going to pound the table for a cap and we're not It's all that rhetoric that puts a negative light on your sport for multiple years when it doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, I'm a no, but I'm not a confident no on that. I think
I'm
they
with
end
you.
up playing 162.
I do too.
So I had a really smart person say something to me recently, and they're in the know. They said, with everything going on with the baseball setting up for this next TV
and the TV,
contract,
yep.
They cannot afford to go to the TV networks where you've just lost games. So you're not going to, because if you lose games, you lose viewers. You get people walking out the door.
People get mad.
The last time the strike that canceled the World Series, there was a lot of people that said, I'm done with baseball. And they actually were done with baseball. You cannot afford to have that dynamic going on when you go to the TV, folks.
I completely agree. All right, let's wrap it up with one more quick thing. And this is a little teaser for you. Why do older generations of players feel like they always need to crap on younger generations of players? We have an example of it this week. I think it's silly. I'll run it by you, Matt. See if you think it's silly as well. We'll hit that next here on KMOX.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
I'm Ultima Morgan. Morgan & Morgan isn't just an injury firm. It's our family's life work. It's my husband, it's my sons, it's me. When we take a case, we see a family just like ours. $30 billion recovered is something I'm proud of. But what I'm really proud of are the families we stood beside. It's an honor to fight for you when you need our support the most. Morgan & Morgan, for the people and your family.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we're seeing delays on southbound 270 from south of Gravois now, headed down towards Highway 55. It's an accident just before Highway 55 in the Highway 55 exit lanes. The right lane is blocked there. So the accident's over on the right shoulder. So that's what's causing those delays on southbound 270. And a pocket of volume as well. Westbound on Highway 70 now, just before Lindbergh. It's an accident over on the right shoulder. So a little bit of volume near Cypress. I'm Frank Lett of the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Wait, Corey from Air Comfort Service? What are you doing in my basement?
Standing behind our work.
It's 9 p.m.
At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation, we take pride in our work. If you need heating service, no matter the time of day or night, we're here to help with 24/7 emergency service.
So you're just going to stand behind my furnace?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you hand me those paper towels then?
Absolutely. For heating service or HVAC maintenance, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
To America's Center, March 6th through 8th.
Bring the whole family to watch the adrenaline-pumping off-axis stunt show and the canines in the clouds frisbee dogs.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, let's jump back in. Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. And Sports Open Line coming up tonight after this. You want to tease Sports Open Line? Anything coming up?
Bernie's going to be on at 6:20. We're
Nice.
going to talk with Amy to talk hockey at 6:35. In the
Nice.
second hour, our friend Jacob Sersasimo from Channel 4 will join us. We
Nice.
recorded a conversation with him from Florida. And we'll hear a little bit from Blues coach Jim Montgomery. So a lot going on tonight, 6 to 8.
Good times. All right. Have you been tracking at all the Max Clark saga in the last few days?
I saw your tweet today, and then I read the quote tweet, and now I'm up to date, I guess, with that part of it.
So essentially, for people that missed this, Max Clark is young, 20-year-old, 21-year-old prospect. He's one of the top 10 prospects in baseball pretty much universally. He's playing in the outfield in Florida. He dropped a fly ball, lost it in the sun, which, as you know, Matt, how many players have you heard talk about the high sky in Florida and Arizona in spring training and how guys just lose balls in the sky?
I've seen.
I've been hearing that for 25, 30 years.
Yeah, that's a very normal thing in spring training.
So that happened to him. And of course, because he's wearing chains on the outside of his jersey and he's a young guy, that's not allowed. So he made these mistakes and it went viral. And a bunch of people that are clout chasers on Twitter are out there yelling, like, oh, you guys wearing chains and can't even catch a fly ball. Derp, derp. And it's like, why do we? And some of them are former major leaguers. Jeff Fry's like the king crapper of all things. He's always crapping on people. Former major leaguer who was a punch and Judy middle infield utility guy. Who's always dumping on young dudes for whatever reason. Why do we do that? Like people dumped on Ken Griffey Jr. because he wore his hat backward in BP. A lot of people listening don't remember this, but in the late 70s, early 80s, there were a lot of old timers that hated that Ozzie Smith would do the flips on the field. They said that's a circus act. That's not baseball. That's not respecting the game. And what do people feel about that now? It's like the good stuff. It's the stuff you remember. And this, again, keep in mind, he was doing that before he was the Wizard of Oz. So when he's the Wizard of Oz, it's fine. But when you're a kid, it's disrespectful to the game. Why are people so dumb?
Yeah, you can say, if you don't think a guy in chains looks cool or whatever,
that's
you can
fine.
think that.
Yes.
I don't care.
It's totally fine.
I see people wearing stuff and doing stuff all the time that I think is dumb or doesn't look good.
Yes.
But I don't try to apply my standards to them. And I know we're running out of time very quickly. When I was in Milwaukee, one of the things the Brewers were so good at was guys were able to walk into that clubhouse and totally be themselves.
Yes.
And it was a really strong part of their competitive culture there. And we need to have more places like that because you are your best self when you feel like who you really are.
Great point. Former big leaguer Jacob Turner, who lives here in town, he tweeted a longer version of that. If you want to find it on Twitter, it's phenomenal. It made exactly the point that you just made right there. Buddy, have a good show tonight. Enjoy the day off and back to the grind tomorrow, bud.
Clubhouse at 8.
All right. We got Sports Open Line, though, coming up after the news on KMOX.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
Cardinals single-game tickets are now on sale for the 2026 season. The schedule delivers big-time matchups, including weekend series against the Cubs and Dodgers, and visits from the Boston Red Sox. Add in a promotions calendar stacked with fan favorites like all-new giveaways, a Hawaiian short and shirt set, golf-inspired hat, dark mode jersey, and a whole lot more. It's Busch Stadium at its best all season long. Lock in your seats today at Cardinals.com.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 442 Unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
If you're getting close to retirement, or maybe you're just thinking about retirement more in general, you're probably thinking about when can you retire? Will you have enough money to live on? You know, we all have retirement questions that, let's be honest, they're overwhelming and just can stress us out. But Steve All can help answer those questions so that you'll feel more confident about this next phase of your life. Check out his show, The All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 and Sunday evenings at 6. here on KMOX.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Does heart disease run in your family? Give yourself peace of mind with our cardiac MRI bundles at Specialty MRI. Personalized scans designed to give you clear, meaningful answers. No long waiting rooms. Scan today for peace of mind tomorrow. Call us at 314-899-2075. That's 314-899-2075.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, this crash is still here, southbound on Highway 270, approaching Highway 55. It's blocking the right exit lane to Highway 55, as well as the right shoulder. So that's what's causing a little bit of a slowdown now. Just south of the Tees Road overpass. Still dealing with delays westbound on Highway 70, approaching the accident near Cypress. MoDOT is reporting now that the left lane is blocked there, but it's a short delay through that stretch. They were sending out crews to help a disabled motorist as well. A vehicle with a flat tire westbound Highway 270 at Riverview. It was reported as over on the right shoulder, so not seeing any delays up there coming off the Chain of Rocks Bridge westbound on Highway 270 up in North County. Out of the city this evening, we are thinned out completely westbound on Highway 64, passing Forest Park. Southbound 170 looks good as well. South of from the Parkway, headed towards Highway 64. Delay-free headed towards the Metro East, eastbound 5564 crossing the Poplar. And that little bit of a slowdown approaching the work zone in Fairview Heights is easing as well, eastbound on Highway 64. I'm Frank Ladd on the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis. For 100 years, KMOX has been the voice of St. Louis, informing, entertaining, and connecting our community. Now, relive a century of service at KMOX100.com, a website that allows you to explore classic KMOX audio, rare photos and video, and the legendary voices that shaped St. Louis. Every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat lives on at KMOX100.com.
Hear me out on this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you do have a wife or a significant other. Yeah. There's just a huge problem in your life. And then you win a giant jackpot. Mm-hmm. Don't you feel like this is your opportunity to just leave town?
You're not going to file papers because now you're going to be legally bound to this lady.
That's what you get the lawyer for.
You're not even married and you're fantasizing about leaving your wife.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Make your reservations now for the 2026 Women of Achievement Award Luncheon, presented by KMOX. The award luncheon takes place Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton, St. Louis, and celebrates 10 outstanding volunteers from across the St. Louis metropolitan region. Doors open at 11:15, and the luncheon runs until 1:30 p.m. Reservations are just $60 per person. Sign up and find more details now at KMOX.com/events.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. What's he gonna talk about? It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. You know, there are real things to talk about. I am amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
Well, it is 6:02, and right now downtown at the Arch, it's a cloudy sky and 52 degrees. We're clearly having some issues with CBS News and the satellite, but we've got some of their coverage for you right here. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth briefed members of Congress behind closed doors about the war with Iran. Many Democrats complained afterwards they heard no clear objectives or an end game from the administration officials. House Speaker Mike Johnson.
No one can yet determine with any degree of certainty how this will turn out. We have taken out in what appears to be top few layers of leaders and potential leaders who would take over there. It is time for the people of Iran to step up and seize this moment of opportunity for them, the one that they have long awaited.
Secretary Rubio told reporters ahead of the briefing that a more intense round of airstrikes on Iran could occur within hours or days. CBS News has learned that U.S. forces are using Anthropic's AI to attack Iran after President Trump ordered federal agencies to stop using it.
The government will phase out Anthropic's AI, Claude, over the next 6 months. The Trump administration is dumping Anthropic after CEO Dario Amodei demanded the military promise in writing it would not use Claude for fully autonomous weapons or to surveil Americans.
It's about the principle of standing up for what's right.
The Pentagon hasn't said how it's using Claude in Iran, but military experts suspect it helps speed up the identification of targets. 900 targets were struck in the first 12 hours. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Iran tensions are pushing gas prices higher across the region. A Gas Buddy analyst says drivers have already felt it over the past week, with more increases on the way. Matt McLean says Missouri's running about $2.80 a gallon statewide right now.
In the St. Louis metro area, looking at $2.95 a gallon, and that's got prices up about 25 cents from a month ago, about 19 cents a gallon from just last week at this time. Unfortunately, we've got more of a price increase on the way.
McLean says drivers could see another 10 to 30 cents per gallon tacked on by the end of the week. A St. Louis man is in jail after allegedly rubbing his genitals on a child at Walmart. Prosecutors say there are more victims.
33-year-old Esmond Pasick is accused of groping himself underneath his clothes in front of a 7-year-old child at the Kirkwood Walmart Sunday afternoon. He's then alleged to have walked up to the child, rubbing his genitals on them through his clothes and asking if they want to touch before the child ran away to their parents. According to St. Louis County prosecuting attorney Melissa Price-Smith, Pasick is seen on surveillance footage doing this to at least 3 other children, but no victims have yet to come forward.
It was very similar of him grabbing himself under his clothing and approaching these children and rubbing up against them.
Pasick was also seen going into the Kirkwood Target. However, law enforcement only has footage from the Walmart. They're charging him with 1 count of enticement of a child and 1 count of sexual abuse in the first degree. He's being held on a $250,000 bond. Outside the Buzz Westfall Justice Center in St. Louis County, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
It is still storming in Clayton. An update on the budget crisis from St. Louis County Executive Sam Page. He's warning residents that the county is headed toward a financial breaking point and is borrowing terms from the weather report to make his point.
St. Louis County is under a budget thunderstorm watch. The budget forecast calls for a budget that will collapse by the end of the year if we don't have significant service reductions. And when we get there, and it's coming soon, then we will have a budget thunderstorm warning.
County Councilman Mark Harder responds in a statement, quote, like most weathermen, Sam Page is lucky to get 50% of his forecasts right and still keep his job, end quote. Page says the county has enough in reserve funds to cover operations for another year or 2. He's asking the council to reappropriate $8.6 million for 8 projects, including street improvements in unincorporated areas and security upgrades at the county's domestic violence shelter. A St. Louis arts funding organization is now under state scrutiny. Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick says his office is performing a performance audit of the Regional Arts Commission after whistleblower complaints about how the agency spends taxpayer money. Investigators found potential issues, including improper bonuses, questionable credit card charges, and inconsistencies in how grants are given. State law requires the commission to spend no more than 15% of its revenue on administrative costs. What to do about Gravois?
Gravois is one of the most dangerous corridors in the city. Gravois is listed as a high injury network. TrailNet has also pointed out Gravois as one of the most dangerous roads in St. Louis Louis City.
Chantel in Cadella with TrailNet says Gravois is very wide, so people speed because it feels like a highway. And because it cuts diagonally through the city, lights and turns are different. MoDOT is working on a plan to make Gravois safer and is holding a public meeting right now to get input from people who live and work along the major connector. In Cadella urges people to attend, says it makes it safer for pedestrians and cyclists, and they also want to make it safer for cars. The meeting is until 7 o'clock at the 5-Star Center on Arsenal. Well, whether we're talking about Gravois or any of the other arterials or interstates, let's get you to Roger Brand at the Traffic Center.
Well, we're working with the crash now southbound on Highway 270 at the J.J. Kelly overpass, reportedly blocking the left lane. I'm looking at volume now starting to form at the Clayton Road overpass. J.J. Kelly overpass is the one that just before Manchester Road on southbound 270. Still dealing with that crash southbound on 270 just before 55. It's still over in the right exit lane to 55, also blocking that right shoulder. Highway 70 westbound, those delays are easing due to the crash near Cypress. It had reportedly been in the left lane at last check, and it currently not seeing delays passing the airport on westbound 70. This update is brought to you by the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. 100 years, that's how long the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors for same-day service and for no extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorslouis.com. I'm Frank Ladd, the michaelsflooringoutlet.com Traffic Center.
Thank you, Frank. Let's check in with Dave Murray.
A springtime unsettled weather pattern started to take hold today, and it's going to run with us most of the week ahead. Periods of showers and a couple of thunderstorms around overnight tonight. The key to this pattern, it's not going to be raining all the time. Think springtime. About 50, that's it for the overnight low. On Wednesday, periods of showers, a couple of thunderstorms. A little concerned that a few storms could be on the strong side, especially to our south and southeast on Wednesday afternoon, 65 for the high. Wednesday night, showers, couple of thunderstorms, 55. Thursday, changeable sky, a mix of clouds and sunshine with periods of showers. A little warmer, 71 degrees on Thursday. Friday, partly sunny. Couple of spot storms around and near 80 degrees Friday afternoon. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is a cloudy sky right now, 52 downtown at the Arch. On to Matt Pauley, I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is time for a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley, coming your way from Jupiter, Florida. Cardinals spring training today was a complete off day. They basically locked down the club, the complex today. Guys were able to actually be human beings and not just baseball players. And now from today, the sprint is on to the rest of spring training. So there's going to be one more off day. That's going to be coming up in just less than 2 weeks, 2 Mondays from now. And then, but that's it. That's the only other off day between now and essentially the 2 days leading into opening day on March 26th. They are going to leave Jupiter on March 22nd to head to Springfield. They've got a game against their AA team, the Springfield Cardinals, on Monday the 23rd. And then they've got 2 days leading into the home opener against the Rays coming up on March 26th. But yeah, today is an off day for everybody, which is nice. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of energy. You love what's going on with spring training, but everybody who's involved with it, whether it's players, managers, coaches, grounds crew, people, staffers within the complex, other staff, like just everybody, people who cover the team, everybody, it's okay to have a day. It is a grind to go through this time period. So it's good to get a day off here, a day off there, as we were able to get today. And it's part of a weird week. And so much of spring training is based upon routine. Like essentially there's 3 different versions of days that the Cardinals have. There's a version of a day where they play a game at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. There's a version of a day where they play a game over in West Palm Beach, and maybe there's a version of a day where they go up to Port St. Lucie. And the vast majority of days during spring training, one of those three things are happening, generally during the afternoon. Occasionally, again, night game. They've played one night game so far. They've got one more night game, I think a week from Friday. They're going to play a night game. But there's a very limited number of like different types of days you have during spring training. This week is a different kind of week because the off day today, tomorrow's going to be a different kind of game. They're going to match up against the Nicaraguan WBC team. And that's happening if you go like look at the spring training scoreboard right now at MLB.com or ESPN.com or something. The vast majority of games going on both in Florida and Arizona are involving WBC teams against major league teams. So the Cardinals are going to have this WBC game coming up tomorrow. And then they've got 2 days across the state as they've got matchups coming up later on this week. They play most of their games against the teams in the area. So the Marlins, Nationals, Astros, and to a certain extent the Mets, who are up the way. You will play generally one set of 2 games over on the other side of the state, which is a pretty good haul over there. They're going to match up against the Pirates on Thursday, and then they're going to play the Orioles on Friday. So between the off day, a matchup against a WBC team, and then the 2 games across the state, it's just a little bit of a weird week. I was talking about this during Redbird Rush Hour. The way that it works on who goes across the way is there's going to be one group of players that will play in both of those games. They'll head over and they'll be available for both the Pirates and the Orioles. After that first game on Thursday, one group of players will bus back to Jupiter while the other group will stay overnight in that area. And then on Friday morning, another group of players will get on a bus in Jupiter and go out to participate in just one game. So you kind of have 3 buckets. You have the bucket of people, actually you have 4 buckets. You have the bucket of people that just stay back in Jupiter the whole time and work on their own on the backfields. And there's going to be a lot of coaches and things like that. There's still a ton of work that goes on at the Cardinals complex, even when the team's on the road. So you have that group of people. You have the group of people that'll play both those games, the group of people that play, the first game, group of people that'll play the second game. So it's just a little bit different. It's not like a really big deal. I'm probably spending more time talking about it now than I really need to, but it is just a little bit of a different type of schedule this week for sure. And you get through this, and then really the rest of the way, everything is pretty standard until spring training wraps up. But today was a day where people got to be human beings. I'm sure a lot of people went to the beach. A lot of these guys had their families down here, so they were actually able to see their wives and kids and all that. So it's good. It's good. The coaches didn't have to be at the facility at 5:30 in the morning, which is the time I believe they get there. I think that's what Ali told me once, that he's generally walking into the facility every day at about 5:30 in the morning. So it's early mornings and it's long days, but that's what you do to get a Major League Baseball team ready to go. Here's what we've got: a busy program. We have a very busy program on the show today. Bernie Miklasz is going to join us in about 5 minutes or so. And then later this hour, our friend Amy Markscourse will talk Blues hockey with us. Next hour, we are going to talk with Christian Miles. He's part of the team at Apple TV. He's going to be calling the City game this weekend. Jacob Sersasimo, got the chance to talk with him as he was down here covering spring training. We'll talk with him at about 7:35. You'll hear a little bit from Blues coach Jim Montgomery towards the end of the show as well. If you want to chime in on anything that we are talking about, multiple ways to get connected. You can call or text 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And for those of you who are watching on the video stream, feel free to leave a comment, and we can get to some of those as we do move along. Bernie Miklasz, he joins us next. Don't go anywhere. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today, and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Taking care of your health should be simple. And with the NeoVitan monthly subscription, it finally is. Choose your doctor-formulated multivitamin and we'll deliver it straight to your door every month. No more running out, no more remembering to reorder, just consistent nutrition made easy. Plus, subscribers save 10% every month and can pause or cancel at any time. Visit neovitan.com and start your subscription today. NeoVitan, trusted nutrition every day.
Get ready, St. Louis area. The St. Charles Boat Show is here March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. See the top dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks and climb aboard your next dream boat. New models, great deals, and summer fun starts here. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for details.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. You know they do such a great job. Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes now. This month, buy one, get one room of carpet clean for free. Unlimited rooms of carpet. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and let them know that Dave sent you.
Bernie Miklasz on KMOX is sponsored by Stewart's American Mortgage, home of the Bagel Loan, and by Salika Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer.
Well, generally, we would be talking to Bernie Miklasz on a Wednesday night at 6:20. We're going to have a little bit of a shorter show tomorrow due to Billikens basketball, and I just wanted to make sure that tomorrow we still have the opportunity to get you the daily comments from Oliver Marmol and everything. So, and I don't want to shortchange Bernie. That would be no good. So we've got Bernie on a Tuesday this week. Of course, you see him, you read him over at STL Sports Central. He is all over KMOX, Redbird Rush Hour, Gas House Gang, Sports on a Sunday morning, and right here on Sports Open Line. Bernie, always appreciate you finding time for us. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Always great to be with you, and we're getting closer and closer to the start of baseball season, which should be, I think, a lot of fun because it's so interesting.
Yeah, I do too. And actually that leads right into what I wanted to talk to you. So I'm thinking through today, like, what do I want to talk about with Bernie? And I always read your stuff. And sometimes I try to throw some off the wall stuff at you. And like right now, there's some question marks about this team. We don't really know who the left fielder is. We don't know what the catching percentage is going to be. We don't for sure know which catchers are going to be on the roster. And it got me to thinking, how much do you like care about that stuff this year in a year where so many other things matter? The normal stuff that we talk about baseball wise, is your interest just the same in all that, or is it different for you this year?
Well, I think it's pretty much the same, because the way I look at it, Matt, is it's just the ritual. It's just the process. I mean, before you can really get ready to watch regular season baseball and kind of have an idea of what to expect, or just get a sense of the team. You have to make sure the roster's set so you can start to like really look at it hard and really look at weaknesses, look at strengths, look at some big question marks, look at who didn't make the team, and like, okay, who's going to be down in Memphis if they need help. So I think it kind of helps you set up the best stuff to come. And I listen, as long as it's a baseball season, I'm happy. As long as the Cardinals are playing 162 games, I'm really happy. The fact that they're rebuilding does not diminish my enthusiasm whatsoever, because like you and like a lot of people, I was tired of the Cardinals being in the middle by choice and not really having a plan to surge forward. And it was just like, that kind of stuff I just was burned out on. I actually, since they made the decision, and I know you feel the same way, to rebuild, which I thought was the right decision. I thought it was the necessary decision. I'm actually very enthusiastic about this season because I want to see how this thing takes shape.
Are you excited about that? Like something that I'm looking forward to. I view it almost as like at some point in time, there's going to be a completed puzzle. And right now, some of the pieces are there. Mason Wynn is a puzzle piece. JJ Weatherholt is a puzzle piece. Ivan Herrera is probably a puzzle piece. But as the year goes along, if Joshua Baez gets here this year, he's probably a puzzle piece. If Liam Doyle were to get here, at some point, these guys are going to get here. Are you looking forward to not just what's happening at the big league level this year, but also knowing that there's going to be guys who are pushing, and those guys are going to get here one by one, which is going to make this team and this organization get that much closer to being very competitive as each one of these guys arrives?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason I say that is because I think I've mentioned this to you before. I've always kept an eye on prospect ratings and all that stuff, but just kept an eye on it. All right. It wasn't like a main interest, but this off season, this past off season, even now, I'm constantly reading everything I can about their prospects and how people around the country talking about the prospect evaluators, what they have to say about what Heimblum is doing and the kind of farm system revival that everybody sees. That's what's happening in St. Louis, this revival. It's pretty exciting. They haven't been in this spot for a long time, where they do have waves of young talent on the way, but a lot of the young talent's not on the doorstep. A lot of it's still, a couple of years away. So yeah, if I'm going to pay attention to prospects before there's even a baseball season, I'm talking about paying a lot of attention to prospects, as I did all winter. Well, I'm sure as heck going to pay a lot of attention to them once they start pitching and hitting down in Memphis or Springfield or wherever, right? Hello?
Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Sorry about those technical issues. Sometimes you get that when you're doing a remote broadcast, but we are back with you from Florida. Bernie, evidently I made somebody upset because they just took me off the air, right?
That's right. No, I'm saying
Hey,
I'm going to pay a lot of attention to the prospects, whether they be at Memphis or they be at Springfield or even down in Palm Beach, wherever. I'm definitely going to be monitoring those guys and also reading people that I know are on top of it. So, yeah.
I saw the MLB Pipeline release their team rankings, and I just think you can look at, like, for the Cardinals, just for example, the top 5. You knew JJ Weatherholt was going to be number 1. Liam Doyle is number 2. He's come in since Chaim Bloom. Rainiel Rodriguez, it goes Rodriguez and Baez 3, 4. Those are 2 guys who I think really took advantage of the systems that were put in place in the minor leagues last year. Saintja comes in at number 5. There's a bunch of other dudes who've been acquired in the last year that are in the top 30, but it's just most of the guys you can look at in the top 30 and you can trace back them being there to something already connected to this new regime.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When I was looking at the Baseball America top 30 and I was the Cardinals, and I was looking at Baseball Prospectus list of I forget how many that they go with, top 20 or so. And I was looking at Fangraphs, who actually, there were so many Cardinals prospects that Fangraphs like that they didn't limit it to 20 or 30. They actually had 53 prospects on the list. So yeah, I've been paying attention to that, and it's been amazing. I've been keeping a running tab. I don't have it in front of me of like how many on all these different top Cardinals prospects list. Like how many of those guys came in since Chaim Bloom became a factor? Listen, he was a factor. We know this. Certainly now we know this. He was a big-time factor at the trade deadline last year, at the draft last year. And I give John Mozeliak a lot of credit. He deferred to Chaim Bloom on a lot of that stuff because he knew that Chaim Bloom had to build his team his own way. So, of course, the trades you make and the draft picks you make have a large bearing on that. So, yeah, they're in a whole different place now. I mean, it's really kind of cool because, you'd have to go back to maybe 2013 to see a Cardinals farm system that's this packed with deep talent. The question will be, as you know, how much of this will turn out to be elite talent at the major league level? Because that's the big step. It's great to put a lot of talent in your system and strength and numbers and all that, but how many elite players will come out of it eventually when it's all said and done?
Last thing for you, Bernie, and I encourage people to go read your Redbird review at STL Sports Central. You dove into Oliver Marmol's role in just this entire reboot of the organization and kind of being shoulder to shoulder with Chaim. And you also got into a little bit about where his impact on young players who have maybe overperformed comes in. And so often we talk about maybe the young players who don't overperform, and there's been a fair share of those. The Tyler O'Neills and the Dylan Carlsons of the world exist for sure, but you can find some really good stories as well in terms of those young players stepping forward since Ollie's been involved in the organization.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, you go back to his times as a coach and a manager in their system at a very young age. I mean, he helped develop 25 players that got to the major leagues. That's no small thing. And some of them are big name guys. So he's got a history of that. And one of the things I did, I just wanted to go wherever the facts led me. I looked at how Cardinals rookies have performed under him, and the Cardinals have had more success in the National League among rookie position players than anybody except Milwaukee over the last 4 years. And their bullpen guys have been in the top 2 or 3 in the National League. I'm talking about rookie reliever. The starting pitching's not as good, but that's not the manager. That's the fact that the organization ran out of starting pitching because the player development system fell apart. And then I looked at some other things about, okay, which Cardinals young players have improved? Most of them have improved. Obviously, Walker and Gorman not improved. They both had good rookie years. Gorman had 2 good years. Walker had a good rookie year, but they hit the skids. And at some point, I think the players got to take responsibility because the Cardinals are providing all the help and guidance you could possibly ask for. At some point, Gorman and Walker got outside, I know what I'm doing wrong, and I got to fix it. I know better by now. But it's easy to blame the manager, and I get it. I do. I get it. The other thing I looked at was going down the list, and there's so many young players who have actually done really well up here under Ali Marmol. Most people would tell you that that's not true, but it is true because I laid it all out. I mean, I got all the names written down. And there's even some other things that I got into as far as, well, for example, because it's easy to say, because I think I've said it in the past. It's like, well, what happened? All these outfielders, O'Neill went bad and Carlson went bad and blah, 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 blah. Did they go bad, or the fact that they, as I joked in the column, the fact that they were teammates in 22 and 23 together, O'Neill and Carlson? Did they go bad, or did they take out a lease to live in the training? No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
In those 2 years, those two guys, right? 9 times combined on the injured list, and they missed combined 241 days. So we're going to blame that on the manager? Huh. That's an interesting way to analyze it. No, when you're hurt all the time and you don't play because you're injured and you can't stay on the field, what do people expect? It's the same thing as hurt Lars Nootbaar, who's a really good player and he's had a solid career, but we all know that his career could be much better by now, but he can't stay on the field. How do we blame the manager for that? I'm just curious. I'm confused by that point. If in fact people are doing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree and encourage people to read your column again at STL Sports Central. Bernie, appreciate the time. I guess we'll talk coming up on Friday for Redbird Rush Hour. And just always appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you. And hey, you're coming home.
I am this weekend.
All right. I'm going to be at the airport. I'm going to be at the airport to greet you, I think.
You know what? You can meet my wife that way and my kids. You can all get together at 12:30 in the morning. That'll be good. So,
all right.
Well, thanks, Bernie.
I'll talk soon. Take care.
Very good. We'll take a break. We've got Amy Marks, of course, to talk St. Louis Blues hockey up next here on KMOX.
In a world of change, music captures the journey of the human spirit. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Bernstein and Robertson, American Reflections, March 6th and 7th. Conductor David Robertson returns to Powell Hall to present works by 4 American luminaries, including Leonard Bernstein's Symphony No. 2 and Robertson's own piano concerto, March 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
If snow and cold has you thinking spring, why don't you do something constructive and call Chesterfield Fence and Deck? Let this be the year that you have that beautiful outdoor space that you've always wanted. Whether you're talking about a new deck, a patio, a pergola, they do all of it. And of course, fences as well, sunrooms, screen rooms. You can visit their beautiful showroom in the Chesterfield Valley. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best since 1968. All of their products are guaranteed by a 5-year labor warranty, comprehensive material warranties provided. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Now, if you're looking for the rock bottom cheapest price, Chesterfield Fence and Deck is not it. What they are is the company that guarantees their work and has been doing great work for 57 years. Quality work that will last for a long, long time. So you can enjoy your outdoor space for years to come. If you mention me, Debbie Monterey, they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. ChesterfieldFence.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
At Gray Bar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Gray Bar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Still here, still trusted. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Blues have won 2 of their last 3 since coming off the Olympic break. They had a good win against Seattle, a good win against Minnesota, a not as good loss against New Jersey. That's their 3 games back. And now they are headed out west for 3 games against Seattle, San Jose, and Anaheim starting tomorrow. It is that time of the week. Very happy to welcome on the program here on KMOX during the Chris and Amy Show. She also is the co-host of Offside Hockey with Chris Kerber on Matrix Midwest, which airs on Wednesday nights. She is Amy Markscourse. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Hey, Matt. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty well.
Good. Very good. A lot of things to talk about with the Blues right now. I thought it was interesting. Jim Montgomery today spoke, and he actually referenced the fact that with the trade deadline just a few days away and that kind of almost being a dark cloud over the team, that maybe he might not be quite as hard on players. Maybe he's not going to, stop practice to do some correction because he sees almost the emotional toll of that looming thing occurring in just a couple days. What's kind of your general takeaway on that? Because I've never really heard a coach talk like that.
No, I know. I hadn't either, not necessarily in those terms. I mean, coaches are pretty honest that it is a hard time for players. It's a tense time. Braden Shen, right, had talked about that, how it's kind of a weird week. There's a cloud that looms over it. They understand that no one feels sorry for them. But from the human element, you don't know if you're going to be traded. You don't know if maybe your best friend, your teammate will be traded. Where are you going? Obviously, some players have more control than others when it comes to being traded and where they go. But, you look at, for instance, a guy like Robert Thomas, a young guy, his name's being bandied about with the Utah Mammoth, and now, especially today, the Buffalo Sabres have that name has been popping up. And, we're looking at it from a hockey trade thinking, well, my goodness, Doug Armstrong and Alexander Steen, but better demand a lot, right? For a playmaking center, a 26-year-old playmaking center that those don't come around. They don't become available very often. So we're looking at it from that side, but also, he lives here. He's kind of grown up here. He's built a little family here, and you might have to uproot. So I think there is the hockey conversation, and then there's the conversations that these guys have with their wives and their families saying, hey, there's a chance we might have to move cities. And if we have any say over it, what cities are we willing to go to?
And to me, it almost makes it worse. Like for the Cardinals, if guys get traded at the deadline this year, like they kind of knew going into the year that was certainly a possibility. Going into this year, the Blues were supposed to be a playoff team. They were supposed to be a really good team, and they have just completely underachieved. So to me, it almost makes this whole period that much worse because it's also a reminder of what the year could have been, and it's not.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you look at your top forwards like Buchnevich, Thomas, Kyrou, how they were locked in to what, 2030, 31? They've got no trade clauses. Now you're asking guys, okay, are you going to waive those no trade clauses? And, it's been a slow burn all season, so it's not a surprise. These guys, they know the business. They know how it is. And maybe someone like a Justin Falk, who I think is the most obvious trade value for this team, in the sense that a lot of playoff teams are going to want to add to their top four defensemen, with one of the few guys on the Blues that's having a great season, is scoring a lot. You want that offensive-minded defenseman. But, a guy like that, maybe he's thinking, I hate to leave St. Louis, but I want a chance to win, right? Maybe a player like a Thomas, who waives a no-trade clause, said, I hate to leave St. Louis too, but I need a fresh start. I want a chance to win, and that's not necessarily where this team is right now. So it is disappointing, but I'm sure, there's a silver lining for certain players if they're being moved to a competitive team. With Robert Thomas, just because that's been the big name, the Utah Mammoth, yes, they're in the same division, but their general manager, Bill Armstrong, was the Blues' former director of amateur scouting, and he was the one that drafted Robert Thomas. So he knows Robert Thomas really, really well, and that would be a great opportunity for him. Looking at Jeremy Rutherford did say on the Binnington front, because Binnington has been thrown out there as someone who might get traded. There's also a belief that Binnington might be someone that does not get traded before the deadline and is maybe a summer move. So there's also a few names like that just because they survive the deadline, they still might be moved in the summer.
We're talking with Amy Markscourse. We spent a lot of the first month, 6 weeks, 2 months of the season really beating up on Logan Mailloux. And he's played some really strong hockey recently. And the fact that Colton Parayko's been banged up, his minutes have gone up. And, a lot of people wanted to automatically say that the Blues lost that trade. And it's a good reminder that when you, especially defensemen, because defensemen develop seemingly at a little bit of a slower rate, when you go get guys, sometimes it's going to take a little bit of time, but somebody like Mailloux does seem that he's at least, crossed some sort of threshold now where he's turning into a pretty solid player. Yeah, and I think so as well. I mean, since the end of February, let's say going back the last 3 games, he's averaged right about 20 minutes. And even though he's had a rather abysmal plus minus, and you take that for what it's worth, in those 3 games, he's been +1, +1, +2. And he's logging 20 minutes. It just takes a long time for defensemen to develop. It was good to see him get that goal in the last game, because one of the big upsides for Logan Mailloux was his ability to generate offense from, the blue line, be a blue liner with that mind for the net. And I just think there was a lot of pressure. It was a messy situation. It was a team that, like you said, had high expectations, was profoundly underperforming. And then you're throwing Logan Mailloux in there saying, okay, kid, show us what you've got. When historically, defensemen it takes a long time to develop them. You ask any veteran defenseman, any veteran hockey guy, whether it be Chris Pronger or go back to Mark Messier or, a coach like Ken Hitchcock, it takes 300 games on average before a defenseman stops being a liability, which that's a lot of hockey. And I get it. There are few and far between the defensemen that maybe take on a ton of responsibility right away, like a Zach Werenski when he first came in the league. But it's just a slower development game. And I think maybe now that the pressure's off, I do feel like Logan Mailloux has turned a corner. Before we let you go, do you have any type of predictions for who you think is going to end up getting traded and how busy of a trade deadline it's going to be for this team come Friday?
I know. I'm so bad. I am so bad at predictions, Matt. I'm the worst in the history of the world. I would say I would be surprised again. No one's talking about Justin Falk, but it just seemed so like practical that I feel like him.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to see Robert Thomas go and maybe get a bunch of first rounders, a couple first rounders in the process. I think we're going to see 2 big trades. And I say that with zero insider information and knowing that I'm pretty much always wrong. But 2 big trades, maybe?
Do they really need more draft picks? They've got a ton of draft picks.
Well, you know what they need, which they haven't had historically because they've always been good, is they need a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
They need a top 5 pick is what they need. I would say right now, first round draft picks are always good. And where they're at right now, that's going to be more helpful for them than, another Buchnevich, right?
Yeah, but does getting the number 19 pick in the draft really get you any closer? Because you said it, this team needs legitimate stars, and you're not that you're not going to find a star with that pick, but it's not a guarantee.
It's not a guarantee. And even the Blues have messed up before, with a really high draft pick. It's not a guarantee, but I will say this, Vladimir Tarasenko was 16th, and that was a big get for them. And so do you have to, kind of win a lottery and be lucky if you're going to draft outside of the top 15 or even top 10? For sure. But if you have a solid year where, let's say, they do finish in the top or the bottom 2 in the league, bottom 3, and they get a top 5 draft pick and they have maybe a 12 or a 15, I do think that helps. It's not breaking any news here. I mean, that's not like a big, but you did get Tarasenko. I'm trying to think who else you got, but we got some pretty good names, like a Jaden Schwartz, right, in the teens. And that was a good get. Vladimir Tarasenko was a good get.
Yeah. I'm just jaded right now. Amy, appreciate it. We'll have answers next week. We'll do our postmortem on the trade deadline.
We'll get to talk about how wrong I was.
Okay. Appreciate it as always, and have a good rest of your week.
You too.
All right, that's Amy Marskors joining us. One more break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1 of the program. We are broadcasting from Florida. Cardinals spring training. It was an off day today for the Cardinals, both in terms of not playing games and really just not doing much at the facility. It was a chance for everybody to just breathe for a moment. Things pick up again tomorrow. For us, things pick up again in about 3-4 minutes when we're back from this commercial break on KMOX.
Unlock a brighter outdoor space in 2026 with Chesterfield Valley Nursery. Let us be your trusted partner for all your landscaping, lawn, and gardening needs, empowering you to create a haven that brings joy and serenity to your life. From landscape design to property maintenance to our garden center, we're here for you. Houseplants, tree shrubs, organic soil mixes, gardening and plant classes, and more. Chesterfield Valley Nursery's Garden Center has what you need no matter what the season. Visit us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday hours start in March. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for all class and sale updates.
St. Louis, get ready. One of the most powerful voices in country music is coming to the Dome at America's Center on March 7th. Zach Bryan, live in concert.
It'll be fun, but those blood, I'm telling you, baby.
With the songs you know by heart. One night, one stage, an unforgettable night of raw, honest music. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
The Builder's St. Louis Home and Garden Show returns to America Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Come to our amazing outdoor living space.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Details at STLHomeshow.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Basketball fans, it is almost time for the Super Trade Day sweepstakes, and FanDuel is all about those three-pointer moments. And on March 3rd, that's 3-3. You like that? You'll have your own shot at a big win from downtown. Place a three-point wager, any three-point wager, and you'll be entered to win a share of over $3.3 million in bonus bets. Download the Sportsbook app by going to FanDuel.com/Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. Go there now to claim your profit boost to enter. It's a lot of fun and a great way to get in on the action. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Limit one entry. Profit boost bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token. Prizes issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules. Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
From Florida, Cardinals spring training. Again, today was a bit of an off day, and things will pick up again tomorrow. Not a bit of an off day. It was a flat-out off day tomorrow. Cardinals are going to match up against the Nicaraguan WBC team. By the way, if you want to listen to that game tomorrow, we're going to be splitting the signals here at KMOX, where we'll have our normal programming on 104.1 FM. But then if you want to listen to the Cardinals and Team Nicaragua, you'll be able to do so on 11:20 a.m. And it's going to be myself and Stephen Carey on the call for that game coming up tomorrow. So certainly looking forward to that. And Dusty Baker is the manager of the WBC Nicaraguan team. They don't have a whole lot of household names. Mark Vientos is on that team. That's probably the best known player. Chesler Cuthbert is probably the second best known player on the team Nicaragua squad. So we'll see how things go. It's kind of weird watching some of these games. And by the way, we've got some Cardinals players having success against teams that you want to see them have success against. How about Thomas Sajaci playing for Team Italy? He has a nice day today. He goes 2 for 3 and hits a home run. Gordon Graceffo did not appear in that game as a pitcher. The Great Britain team beat the Milwaukee Brewers, which is actually a little bit of a surprise. Maybe it was. I was reading a quote from Brewers manager Pat Murphy. He was not happy with the way his team played today, which it's kind of funny. Like, it's spring training. You don't hear and see managers getting really upset about things in spring training very often, but Pat Murphy was not happy with the way his team played today. That being said, Matt Koperniak is part of that Great Britain squad, and Koperniak today goes 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs against the Brewers. So that's good. That's good. And yeah, we'll see what happens with this Nicaraguan team coming in tomorrow to Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. I believe Team Nicaragua played somebody today. Let's see if I can get that real quick before we have to wrap things up here in hour number 1 of the program. Nicaragua, where are you? Didn't you play something? Yeah, they matched up against the Mets, and the Mets today won by a 6-3 score in Port St. Lucie. So Team Nicaragua was up in Port St. Lucie today, and now they're going to come into Jupiter to take on the Cardinals coming up tomorrow. And yeah, just good to see. And you've got these teams are working out and playing games here in Florida and Arizona. There's a couple other sites where games are going to be going on, and it's just fun. It's good to be able to see these things going on. All right, this is what we got coming up in hour number 2 of the show. In just a few minutes, just after the 7 o'clock news, we are going to be talking with Christian Miles. He's part of the team at Apple TV. He's going to be on the call for City SC this upcoming weekend as they still try to get things going. Their performance against San Diego, they stayed in it, but you just watch those two teams, and those are two teams at very different spots. So we will talk with Christian about that coming up in just a bit. Jacob Sersosimo is going to join us as well at about 7:35. We'll hear from Blues coach Jim Montgomery, some of his comments from practice today. That's all going to be coming up during the 7 o'clock hour. Don't go anywhere from Florida. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills, and we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
This season, step up to the ultimate game day experience with Cardinals all-inclusive tickets. Enjoy a full buffet, complimentary bar, and unbeatable views inside Busch Stadium. It's great food with great company for every pitch, hit, and home run. Choose your experience in the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Proficient Red Jacket Club, and more. See the game like a VIP with all-inclusive tickets. On sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Last month, my business cash flow got tight. Sales were slow, invoices were late, and payroll was coming fast. My business is everything, and people rely on me. I can't let them down. I applied online at lenseek.com and had business funding in 24 hours.
Business moves fast. Don't wait until it's too late. Whether it's lines of credit, term loans, working capital funding, or revenue-based financing, LendSeek is open for business. Apply now at LENDSEEK.com.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985? Bernie Miklasz.
March the 26th, first game, Busch Stadium, Tampa Bay Rays at Cardinals. The first Cardinal to bat in 2026. That will be J.J. Weatherly. So the point is, he'll be on base a lot. He has tremendous on-base skills, and I think that's what you want in the leadoff hole.
Bernie Miklasz. Hear what he has to say on the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The Department of War announces the names of 4 U.S. Army Reserve soldiers ages 20 to 42 who have died in Kuwait while supporting Operation Epic Fury. They are Captain Cody Cork of Lakeland, Florida, Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore of White Bear Lake, Minnesota, Sergeant First Class Noah Teachins of Bellevue, Nebraska, and Sergeant Declan Cody of Des Moines, Iowa. So far, a total of 6 service members have died and at least 10 have been critically wounded. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth briefed members of Congress behind closed doors about the war with Iran. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal said afterwards he was more fearful than ever that the administration may put boots on the ground.
I also am no more clear on what the priorities are going to be of the administration going forward.
Republican Representative Nancy Mace.
If ground troops get involved, I think that's a very different conversation. That's not where we are today. That's not what I heard in the briefing. And again, I won't go into details because it was classified. I feel very good and very confident about where we are, roughly just over 100 hours into the strikes and this conflict.
Many Democrats called for a public hearing.
CBS Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto on how Americans view the war with Iran.
Americans do not feel like they have been given a clear explanation of what the U.S. goals are. 62% say they have not, that they have not been given a clear explanation. What is important about that is this. They don't necessarily think this is going to be a short conflict.
The 2026 midterm season is underway with voters at the polls for primary day in Texas, North Carolina, and Arkansas. CBS's Ed O'Keefe is in Austin, Texas.
They've seen record turnout already in early voting. We're still assessing what the turnout has been like so far today. There have been some issues in Dallas and Williamson counties with some confused Democrats on where exactly they were supposed to vote. One of the things Anthony and his polling unit has been doing is assessing what Republicans and Democrats are looking for as this midterm campaign season begins. And one of the findings of those polls among Republicans is that they still expect loyalty to the president.
North Carolina polls will remain open until 8:30 p.m. Eastern in Halifax County only after earlier delays in voting. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defends the immigration crackdown during testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee. North Carolina Republican Senator Tom Tillis has called for her resignation, citing allegations that Noem has blocked an inspector general from investigating 10 complaints against the DHS.
That is stonewalling. That's a failure of leadership, and that is why I've called for your resignation. And if I don't get an answer to these questions, I don't want an applause. Please don't do that for me.
This is CBS News.
At 7:03, it's a cloudy sky and 52 degrees downtown at the Arch. The head of St. Louis's state-appointed police board is calling for calmer budget talks with City Hall days after a contentious board meeting exposed a massive gap between what the city expected to spend on the police department and what the board is asking for. Board President Chris Saraceno met with Mayor Kara Spencer today and released a statement that says, quote, "Our goal is not conflict, it is clarity," end quote. At last week's meeting, Spencer cast the lone dissenting vote against the board's proposed police budget of more than $250 million for next year. That's roughly $48 to $72 million more than the city had planned for. At the time, Spencer called the proposal a, quote, slap in the face and warned that it would force massive layoffs across city departments. A school in St. Louis County is experiencing an outbreak of chickenpox.
In a statement provided by Principia School, school officials say they are dealing with less than 10 confirmed cases in the community. Principia is a faith-based boarding and day school that serves 512 students through all grade levels. The statement says school officials have been in contact with both students' families and the St. Louis County Department of Public Health since the start of the outbreak. According to the statement, the first case was confirmed in the lower school in February, resulting in school officials limiting contact between students in different grade levels. Officials also asked unvaccinated students not to attend school events. After a case in the middle school was confirmed this week, officials say students with no immunity, which they define as students with a prior history of chickenpox or who are unvaccinated, were required to leave the school. The statement says those students are not allowed to attend any school activities within 21 days of the most recent confirmed case. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Staying on the health beat, how many doctors in our region have ever actually seen a measles case?
I would say very few.
That's SSM Health Chief Community Health Officer Dr. Alexander Garza. You'll likely recognize the name. Garza served as the incident commander for the St. Louis Metropolitan Pandemic Task Force. Recent reports reveal many healthcare providers have never had firsthand experience with measles. Garza says there are a series of protocols in place.
If a patient has these specific complaints, meets these specific criteria, then this is how you need to handle the patient. These are, the steps you need to take. These are the tests you need to order.
Garza adds there's a heightened awareness of following those protocols because of the recent increase in cases of measles. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
We've got rain and possibly some storms overnight tonight, low 50 degrees. For tomorrow, just an unsettled day. Periods of rain and some storms could be strong, especially to the south of the city. High tomorrow of 65. More rain tomorrow night, 55. For Thursday, mix of clouds and sun and a high of 71. Right now, we've got clouds and 52 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Continuing to come your way from Florida, the home of Cardinals spring training. Today was an off day for the Cardinals. They'll get back at tomorrow when they take on Team Venezuela from the WBC group that's going around. City SC, they lose on a late Sunday night. For those of you who stayed up late to watch, I certainly was in that group. They get outplayed in many ways by San Diego. They lose that match 2-0. So they've scored just one goal in their first two matches, have a loss, have a draw, and they are going to match up against Seattle at home. That is going to be coming up this Saturday. On the call of that broadcast this weekend on Apple TV, it will be Christian Miles. He joins us right now. You can follow him on Twitter at @CMilesSports. Christian, thanks so much for taking some time with us today. How are you? Okay, we are going to re-effort Christian Miles here as we are having a couple technical issues here getting him on the line. But yeah, he is going to be on the call. I am the king, the absolute king of it's early, right? If you're going to hear that from, and I try to be fair across the board. During the start of the baseball season, when things go well for the Cardinals or when things don't go well for the Cardinals, I'm going to tell you it's early. Let's this thing play out. We know Mike Claiborne Flag Day, right? So I want to be fair and apply the same standard to City. They have a new coach. They have a new sporting director. They have a new team. There's a lot of new stuff going on. So judging them on their first couple games of the season, not fair at all. And I am cognizant of that. And I don't want to beat up on them. That being said, watching that match on Sunday night, it just looked like teams in two different worlds. San Diego looked good. City did not. I mean, it just seemed like they were in two completely different places. Okay. Looks like we do have back on the line. As I mentioned, he's part of the team at Apple TV. He's going to be on the call as City gets back at it coming up this weekend. They're going to match up against Seattle at home. Very happy to welcome onto the program Christian Miles. Christian, thanks for taking some time with us today. How are you?
I'm great, Matt. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to getting out to St. Louis for the first time.
Yeah, so you've not experienced Energizer Park yet, and everything that goes along with the game day experience. It's really, really good in St. Louis.
I have not, and I'm very much. It's been on my bucket list in MLS, and by some sort of freaky wrinkle in the schedule, I have not been able to do it. But I'm looking forward to it.
I was just talking about before we brought you on, and I'm not trying to beat up on City, but I watched that matchup on Apple TV late Sunday night. And I saw two teams that were just playing seemingly two different games. And I give City credit for sticking around as long as they did. I mean, they were a fluke goal away from tying it for a while, but it just seems like this is a team that's still got a ways to go. Would you agree with that?
I think there is. It's a work in progress. And, Yohan Demay is trying to institute his system. Look, Matt, there's no shame in being, a gulf of class between yourselves and San Diego FC right now, because they are the cream of the MLS crop in my estimation. Mm-hmm. So a lot of teams that really fall short of the mark if they are indeed the standard. But yes, it's a work in progress, and it's not all entirely negative. I thought they really, as you said, stuck in there, and Yohan came on in his post-match presser and praised the work ethic at the side. And you look no further than the fact that you see Edelman making a sliding save down in the 88th minute after he's run his socks off for the entire game. I think that is indicative of the nature of the commitment of this team. Now it's about quality, and they're just falling short in that department a little bit right now.
In his post-game remarks as well, DeMay said he kind of felt like his team maybe gave too much respect and was almost too deferential to San Diego going in. That's something that hopefully maybe happens just once, and then they get that out of their system.
Yeah, it is. I mean, San Diego came out with a bit between their teeth. Let's not forget, Snapdragon's a tough place to play. It was an interesting shape that they're playing right now, almost with 2 threes and a box of 4 higher up the pitch, and it did allow some space in those wide areas. And I think that's something you really can't do with the San Diego side. They could pass anybody off the park, and they actually did at times. And St. Louis really looked out of sorts. I thought City's press was really disconnected. The endeavor was there, but the lines weren't compact. I don't think they were connected. You'd see the forward part of the press, my yards ahead of the back line and leaving acres of space. And in San Diego, they can attack at pace as well as possess you. So they were able to exploit that. And those moments of transition, I'm sure, is something that's being addressed right now this week of the training field in St. Louis.
At one point in that broadcast, Sasha Klestion said that this game could be a 5-0 game if not for Roman Berkey. And it's just a reminder of City seemingly always is going to have an opportunity to be competitive, as they've got, if not the best, one of the best goalkeepers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there's no doubt his pedigree, he's been around for so long. He's Swiss international, going back 15 years, and all those times with the Swiss national team and all those successful seasons with Dortmund. I thought he was at his best. He looked like the Roman Berkey I used to watch at Borussia Dortmund about 10 years ago. He had a cape on and everything. I think he needs a little more protection. I think it would be really interesting to see if Mbake Fall can come in and add some quality along that back line that at times had real difficulties, especially on the left-hand side when you saw Dreyer, running towards past Rafa Santos, and Polvara had some difficulties. So I'm expecting to see some changes coming up this Saturday against the Seattle side that, that will want to bounce back. But I think it's, as we said, a work in progress here, but certainly you would expect to see some alterations along that back line, perhaps.
And that's something that with where this team is at right now, there's probably going to be some opportunities for some guys on the roster to step forward into some bigger roles. And there's almost, I think for Yoann Demay, there's probably some freedom in that. And just knowing that he does have the opportunities to go with the hot hand and reward playing time based off who's playing at the best at any given moment.
Yeah, it's a slog. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And opportunities will present themselves. I think we saw it on Saturday night when Miguel Perez was brought in and selected ahead of Teuchert and was brought in for more of his defensive capabilities. He did struggle. I thought Perez put in a great ball for Betcher early on, who should have tucked away the chance. If Betcher takes that chance, that's a whole different game. It changes the mindset, and it also changes the way San Diego would come out. But I think you've seen evidence of what you're saying here, Matt. It's a very, very good point. You saw Perez get a run out. You see Song Bin out there getting a run out. Polvara getting a selection as well. So a chance to look at these guys and see what they have, because it's not just going to be played one way throughout the entirety of this 2026 season. You have to play with variance. You have to vary your approach, and you have to play as much of a plan A as you do a plan B. And I think Yoann Demay is just kind of getting the feel for that right now.
They have played so far teams that are very different in terms of style, going from playing Charlotte to then match up against San Diego this past weekend. When you look at this upcoming game that you'll be on the call of as they take on Seattle, what are some of the things that maybe City needs to do and do well to find some success?
Well, I think they need to be more compact in their press defensively when they're out of possession. I think, Seattle did have a lion's share of it over the weekend against Real Salt Lake, but they were chasing. But we know how they can kill you. It's got Rothrock running, right down your throat, and that's going to be something that they're going to have to deal with this time on the right-hand side, St. Louis. And Rusnak is, everybody knows about his ability as a playmaker. He can conjure something out of nothing. It's a good platform. And Nuhu also making those runs. So that left-hand side for Seattle, I certainly would think would be first and foremost of concern for St. Louis, but also too, I'm expecting some changes up top. I'd like to see Teuchert in, if he can come back in, and also perhaps we'll see Marcel Hartl back in. I thought he was vastly missed. They really needed his quality, especially on the front foot in possession. best player on the field, I thought, for St. Louis, week 1 against Charlotte. He was, kind of a glaring omission in that one. And, if he can, I know he's got personal things going on here, and congratulations to him and his family. But, he is sorely missed, and if he can, I'm sure he'll be first name on the team sheet. So changes afoot, and just be a little bit braver in terms of it, and have that channel of creativity. I feel when I watch City, they can be slick. They've got a great foundation with Durkin and Edelman. They're adding that. They really miss a player like Leuven, who can come in and pick a pass and play it slickly, but he also has, important matters to tend to at hand right now.
Before we let you go, do you want to remind folks, it's a little bit of a change this year when it comes to the Apple games or the MLS games on Apple. Previously, there had to be in addition to being an Apple subscriber, there was the MLS season pass. That's gone away. I know this opens things up for everybody who loves their Ted Lasso, loves their morning show, whatever it might be. If you've got the Apple subscription, you're now able to enjoy the full slate of MLS games on the package.
Yes, I'm a big fan of slow horses too, but when you're not watching that, make sure you watch MLS on Apple TV. There's no more season pass. The paywall is down. It's open to all. We had a great opening weekend. It carried over into match day 2. So it's established some great momentum, and I'm really looking forward to this match day 3 because I think we're going to see a different St. Louis side. And Seattle, of course, they're always up, amongst the best in quality in MLS. It's going to be a good one. It's one of those that kind of fly below the radar, and I'm really looking forward to getting out there with my partner Casey White to bring it to you guys.
Awesome. Well, get some toasted ravioli when you're in St. Louis. Enjoy yourself, and we look forward to catching up with you again down the line.
All right, Matt. Thanks a lot. Take care.
All right, very good. That's Christian Miles joining us on the show. He's going to be on call on Apple TV this weekend at C Miles Sports on Twitter if you want to follow along with him. I always get a kick out of it when, and that's one of the things with City coming into existence. There's been a lot of people from outside of St. Louis that are coming into St. Louis for a first time. Like when it comes to baseball broadcasters, they've all been to St. Louis. When it comes to hockey broadcasters, they've all been to St. Louis. Well, we got soccer broadcasters, many of whom have never stepped foot into St. Louis. So they get to come in, they get to experience just the awesome environment that goes along with Energizer Park, which is everybody says how amazing it is. And then you get to go try some of our cuisine and other things that are so distinctly St. Louis. Here's what we've still got coming up here in hour number 2 of the show. Jacob Sersosimo, he's going to join us in 25 minutes or so. We're going to hear some of the not pregame, but some of the after practice comments from Jim Montgomery. He spoke with the media today, and he had a few things just to kind of preview that because I thought it was really good today. I thought Montgomery was really, really good today on some of the things he talked about. Spent a fair amount of time talking about puck battles and how important it is. And like you might be saying, of course it is. Like anytime you can gain possession, that's an important part of just about any sport out there that is a possession-based game. But he got into it a little bit, and I thought it was interesting and something we talked about with Amy Marks, of course, just the fact that the trade deadline is looming at the end of this week and how that actually impacts the way he coaches, because it does. He changes his approach a little bit this week leading into the trade deadline because of some of the things that go along with that. So you'll hear all of that coming up later on in the hour. Don't go anywhere. We've got more coming up in just a moment. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Saving money is hard, but what's worse is when you save all year, hoping to use that money for a nice vacation, and then your AC unit dies and that money is gone. Now imagine yourself in retirement. You've saved a nice amount, hoping to use it for fun. But every time you take money out of your 401k, you get hammered in taxes. It's a sad fact, but your number one expense in retirement may not be cruises and trips. It could be taxes. At the All Financial Group, we believe in keeping more of your money where it belongs, with you. Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, March 10th and Thursday, March 12th. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. You must qualify to attend. Call today to reserve your spot, 636-230-8824, or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give any tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hola amigos, Brad Evans here. Check out this booming voice and Pat Boyle on BetMGM tonight, covering the biggest sports stories from coast to coast, live and interactive on the free Odyssey app, discussing NFL offseason news and getting you ready for the madness in college hoops. BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, live and interactive, Monday through Friday night starting at 6 Eastern, presented by BetMGM. Always live on the free Odyssey app and watch on YouTube at BetMGM tonight.
In 1991, John and Cindy Morelli started Morelli Tuck Pointing. As of today, they've won just about every award possible for the tuck pointing business. The BBB Torch Award, the Next Door Neighborhood Fave Award, and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. For homeowners, this is a great time to get a free inspection of your basement, your brick or stone fireplace, your garage interior, your porch, and maybe even your walkway. Indoor tuck pointing can be started now. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. My wife Beth and I have used Morelli Tuck Pointing to work on 2 of our homes now over the last 25 years. We have found the Morelli bids to be fair, their crews are very polite, and they clean up after themselves. But most importantly, their work is beautiful. Family owned and operated since 1991. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Experience music, magic, story, and wonder with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Scheherazade, Magic and Myth. Feel bold energy and haunting beauty as violinist Leila Josefowitz performs Alban Berg's deeply moving Violin Concerto. Then be swept away by Scheherazade. Saturday, March 14th and Sunday, March 15th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Considering buying or selling a home? When it comes to the Gelman team with eXp Realty, numbers don't lie. Over 1,500 Google and Zillow 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, and $2.5 billion in real estate sold. Call 314-336-1991, thegelmanteam.com.
I'm Debbie Monterey, and I see more clearly thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Make your appointment today at 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Built on a century, focused on today. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX, coming your way from Florida, where the Cardinals continue spring training. Off day today, back at tomorrow against WBC Team Venezuela, managed by Dusty Baker. I had somebody on, admittedly, I've been a little bit, I don't know, is raw the right word? When it comes to social media interactions ever since the Oliver Marmol extension. And I read the response the wrong way. So Dusty Baker is going to be managing Team Venezuela. And somebody responded to me and said, let's get Tony La Russa to manage the Cardinals for a day. And when I first read it, I read it as in anything to get Ollie out of here, because that's what I've been dealing with on social media. And I went into defense mode on social. And then as I'm writing the response, I go, oh, okay. I get it. Tony versus Dusty. Not everything is about people being mad that Oliver Marmol got a contract. And it kind of warmed my heart, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Speaking of a warming heart, Kyle Sixta, did you see St. Louis and Max Scherzer? Did you see what his daughter did by any chance?
The letter? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
I did.
The letter. This is really, so now they should have sent it. For folks who did not see this, it's a pretty cute story. I guess they were doing letters to Santa, and this is when it was around Christmas time, and Max Scherzer's daughter wanted to write a letter to the Toronto Blue Jays instead. And after he just recently re-signed with Toronto, his wife put it out on social media. The letter read in part, "Dear Blue Jays, I'm sorry you didn't win the World Series. I hope that you win it next time. I hope that my dad is back on the team. My whole family loves spending time in Toronto with our dad. We love the aquarium, the CN Tower, and of course the stadium. I'm looking forward to coming back next season. Love, Max Scherzer's daughter." That's cute. That is very cute, right?
That's so wholesome.
Where, I don't know how old the daughter is, but where was she when Max was interested in being a Cardinal many years ago?
Right.
Dear Mr. Mo, I love St. Louis. Please sign my dad.
We could have used that.
Where was she? May not have been on this earth yet. She probably wasn't. I'm guessing she's fairly young. But yeah, maybe that's what would have put it over the edge those number of years ago when he wanted to be in St. Louis. We are going to take a break. When we come back, I recently got the chance to sit down and talk with Jacob Sersasimo. He's been here covering the Cardinals for Channel 4. You'll hear that conversation coming up in just a moment from Florida. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX from the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, it's Debbie Monterey with Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Welcome back, Gloria. You know, for years now, you've been on KMOX helping families plan their next big move with your guaranteed sold program. For those planning to sell their home this year, what's your best advice?
Thank you. My advice is simple. Do your homework before listing your home. Our market is stabilizing. Inventory is tightening and moving fast. In other words, the realtor you choose to sell your home really matters. That's why my sellers love my guaranteed sale program. I guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. I have thousands of buyers in my buyers in waiting database, so your home may already been sold before it's ever hit the market. Higher demand, more competition, and more money for your home.
Friends, if you want a realtor who will guarantee results, call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
When it comes to lighting, Gray Bar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Gray Bar mode. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Save big on home updates at Menards. Transform your floors and walls with stylish Mohawk porcelain tile. 12 by 24-inch urban forged tiles combine a bold modern look with the timeless beauty of natural stone for a stunning result. Plus, they feature Step Sure, an advanced slip-resistant technology providing safety without compromising style. Save big money on Mohawk porcelain tile. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
One city, one voice. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
It's Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. We continue to come your way from Jupiter, Florida. Always enjoy being able to talk to all the various media members that come down to cover Cardinals spring training. This guy covering spring training for the first time. He's been at Channel 4 for a while, Matrix Midwest as well, which is now kind of the TV home of the Cardinals. We'll get to that in just a moment. He is Jacob Sersasimo. Jacob, how are you?
I'm good. I'm in Jupiter, so life's good down here.
What's your general? You haven't been. We talk a lot to people about the facility upgrades. You didn't experience what it looked like before, but still coming in, you have to appreciate what it looks like here.
Yeah, it's really nice, and I actually kind of got lucky. I asked around to see if I could get video of like all the new upgrades and all the new buildings, and they said yes, but you have to go when all the players are gone because of whatever the case may be. And so I was like, that's fine. We'll wait. So I waited late in the afternoon, one of the days in Jupiter, and I actually got to see all the facilities, the medical center, the new cold tubs, the new weight room, go in there. I got video of the new clubhouse and not really behind the scenes stuff, offices, but listening to people tell me about what those buildings used to be and what used to not be there and what's there now. The facilities are incredible. I related the weight room area that's also like the medical center to, when hospitals make like high performance facilities for pro athletes when they come back home. That's what it looks like. Like it's legit and it's very well done. And I think the Cardinals have done a phenomenal job of investing in that, like they said. And I think the players really appreciate it. Watching players being able to, go to the lunch hall and eat and spread out and have a patio out there. Everything is very well done. And they did it the right way when they redid it.
One of the things Ali has talked about a lot is how those two locations, the performance center and also the lunchroom area, that's allowed major leaguers and minor leaguers to come together where previously they were separated out. And maybe those conversations you have at the lunchroom table with a major leaguer, like that's the sort of stuff that can help build culture and it can just help young guys develop maybe a little bit faster.
Yeah, so where the lunch area is at spring training is right next to where like us TV guys set up for our interviews. And it's cool to see who sits at those lunch tables and mingles. One morning during my trip down here, Lars Newbar was just talking to a staffer, and you could overhear them just talking about living in St. Louis and what their friends have been up to and what they've been up to, and mingle around those areas where you're right. There's not a lot of like common area for different people in the organization to be other than that area. Right. So that's been cool. Ozzie Smith sits out there every once in a while and he had some special guests here over the week, whoever they were. And Yadier Molina comes and sits with them and they're just mingling and chatting and having a good time. So the lunch hall, I think you're right, is a good spot for everybody to linger and everybody to sit. It's like going to school when you're sitting at a school lunch table and you look across and there's someone you might have class with, but you might not hang out with outside of school. But now you guys start chatting, and to have that common area, I think has been really cool for me to witness from only being about 10 feet away from them when I'm shooting my interviews.
You've talked to a whole bunch of people. Is there a revelation or two that's come out that you've found to be really interesting from the folks that you've talked to?
Alec Burleson's been really interesting for me. And when I talked to him, I asked him about his leadership role, and he was very candid saying, I'm not a vocal guy. Like I'm pretty not shy, but I'm pretty quiet. I lead by example. And I asked him, he said he's gotten uncomfortable. And I asked him, well, since you've played first base, you play outfield, you DH, you've kind of done everything in your career. Can you use that to your advantage to be a leader in this clubhouse? Because you can almost relate to everybody in this clubhouse. And the interesting part he answered with that was, I can because of what I've done on the field, but I think it's more important of what I haven't done. He's like, I've been a bench guy. There's been times I haven't played. And there's guys on this team that are going to be in that same role. Well, I can relate to them. Not a lot of superstars, not a lot of guys that have, been in the league and always been important can relate to a guy that's sitting on the bench. He goes, I've also not played for a month and come in a tight spot to hit in the ninth inning. Not a lot of guys can relate to that because that's a certain type of bench player at the time or whoever the case may be. So he was like, I'm using my experience as growing through the pro game of baseball and not always being, a guy in a leadership role to help get uncomfortable conversations going with some of these guys saying, hey, I've been there. I can help you through this. And I think the way the Cardinals are going right now, you need guys like that have been through it all and are willing to have uncomfortable conversations. And he says, that's my role and that's what I'm doing.
And to take that one step further, I feel like we've seen him be vocal at times when they're working on things in the infield, and that's not really something we've seen from him before. So that's all part of the same thing.
Yeah, and the nice part about when I do my stories down here is being able to follow someone during a practice, right? I'm not just getting generic footage of the whole practice. I'm kind of following someone around. And when I talked to Alec Burleson that day, I kind of followed him around at practice on the practice fields. And Blaze Jordan, they were doing a relay drill, and he was very vocal with Blaze Jordan. And then a coach comes in and, hey, we can do it this way. And Alec is working with that coach. Hey, okay, so I saw this. Can we go this way? And coach like, I like it like this. And he was like, how can we work together to make this comfortable for not only me, but Blaze, and if Pozo's at first base, because he was taking ground balls that day. And so he was very interactive, and it looked constructive. You know, when you can like watch a conversation, you're like, oh, they're getting something out of this. This is constructive conversation. That's how it was. And that's a side of Burleson that I haven't necessarily seen a whole lot of in years past.
I've never seen a camp where there's been as many moments where they stop a drill to talk about what just happened, or stop a drill to individually talk with somebody. A lot of times in spring training, it's like, just get through this, keep moving. There's a million guys. We got to get everybody through this. And this year, I don't know if you've noticed it, but this year it really feels like the teaching aspect of it and actually having the liberty to slow down and stop for a moment is something that's more allowed.
I think the key part of that is having guys that are receptive to that. Sometimes I don't want to put a general statement out there, but like in pro sports, these guys are getting paid a lot of money to play a sport. And a lot of times when you get to this level, there are guys that are like, hey, I've been playing this my whole life. I kind of know what's going on out here. This Cardinals team is, you're right, very receptive. There was a play at practice during this full squad workouts where JJ Weatherholt takes a ground ball, throws home. It was like 1st and 3rd situation or something. He throws home, and one of the coaches, I can't remember if it was like Descalso or who it was like, JJ, and he stopped in his tracks. He was like going back to second base, and he stopped. And they were like, give him a situation where like, if you're going to make this play, do this, do this, do this. And he was like full attention, didn't blink, like looked at him. Yes, I understand what you're saying. Good point. Back to his position. They do another one. Might have been Stubby. Someone was telling him, hey, do this or do this. And he was like very attentive. And everyone's been that way. Mason Wynn wins a Gold Glove. He is very vocal in the infield, but he's also been very receptive. Him and Stubby Clapp had a conversation in front of me, like 10 feet in front of me the other day for like 5 minutes about a relay positioning for the shortstop. And it wasn't Mason telling Stubby, this is how it should be. It wasn't Stubby telling Mason, this is how it should be. It was them working together to figure out, how can we make this better so we can be better? And this guy just won a Gold Glove and is like the hottest name on the team. So I think having guys like that and having the whole team like that can be rare at times in pro sports. And that's what the Cardinals have.
Jacob Sosimo from Helm Foreign Matrix Midwest continuing to join us here on a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. We know the outside expectations for this team are not high. Who knows what it's actually going to look like this year, but they seem to be at least at a good starting point because guys aren't worried about those expectations. Guys are working hard. At some point, maybe talent kind of rules this whole thing, but I don't think things could be much more positive than what they are right now.
Yeah, I don't think they care. I don't think they care that no one cares about them. And I say that in the nicest way possible, but people aren't expecting a lot from them. And I don't think they care that people aren't expecting a lot from them. Talking to Jordan Walker during the week, he's like, I think we're really underestimated, and that's okay. They're not in a position to, everyone's coming in here thinking you guys are going to compete for a World Series, but they know where they're at and they're accepting where they're at. And the only way to go is up. And they know that. And that's what they're doing. I think watching this team throughout the week of full squad workouts, they're kind of embracing that. And I think when the organization embraces that, that's a big step for the guys in the clubhouse. And we look at things in a positive light, but like we understand the big picture, right? And the players understand the big picture. The media understands the big picture. We're not coming in here saying like things are going to be like so positive all year long, but they're coming into a camp realizing that we're going to probably trip and fall a few times this year. But what we build right now is preparing us to trip and fall because there are going to be really hard times during the year, and that's okay. And I think part of that is the acceptance that that's where they're going to be at some points in the season. And when you acknowledge that and don't hide behind it, I think is a good step for the organization. And I don't want to sit here and act like the Cardinals are going to be something they're not this year. But when everyone in spring training is excited about the opportunity instead of looking back and be like, we got rid of Wilson, we got rid of Sonny, we got rid of Donnie, we got rid of, Nato, all those guys. Instead of looking back, they're full steam ahead. And I think that's a positive direction for the organization in general.
Last year was the first year that we saw some Cardinals games on Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest. The relationship even bigger now. Spring training games are airing on Matrix Midwest. There's going to be daily the game compressed games the next day so people can watch them. It's really cool what's going on, and there's going to be an opportunity for Cardinals fans to watch more Cardinals games over the air this year.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I think everybody at Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest is excited about it. And I think it kind of just goes to the overall mission of what we do at First Alert 4 and Matrix Midwest is like serve the city of St. Louis. And at some points, the best way to serve the city of St. Louis is give them what they love. And that's Cardinals baseball, that's Blues hockey, and whatever else we can air on those channels as well. And we're really excited to, partner with the Cardinals once again. Not only are, some spring training games going to be on Matrix and some of the games during the year are going to be on Channel 4 and Matrix, but getting Springfield games, getting Memphis games, and kind of expanding our blueprint when it comes to Cardinals territory. It's not just a couple Cardinals games during the year. You can catch them in March. You can catch them in Springfield. You can catch them in Memphis. And some of these guys that I'm talking to this week that are going to air on Channel 4, like Joshua Baez, you can watch him in the minor leagues this year too, because when he gets called up, you're going to be like, we've known a little bit about this guy. The fastball part of it, the re-air things where it's a little sped up version on Matrix Midwest the following day. I'm really excited about that. I understand people's lives get busy. My life gets busy. There's nights where I can't watch things that I'd like to watch. No problem. Next day it's on Matrix Midwest in an hour increment. You can, put it up on your monitor at work or whatever the case may be and get a fast forward version. Games aren't long anyway, but an hour is going to be really nice. So we're really excited about it. And I'm really excited about the continued partnership that we have with the team. And especially in a time where they're kind of full steam ahead on the opportunity for young guys. And it's kind of a reboot for this team. We're happy to be along for the ride.
He is Jacob Sersasimo. You see him on Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest. Jacob, thanks for the time.
Thank you, Matt.
Jacob Sersasimo joining us. We'll take a break. Have more in a moment. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Wait, Corey from Air Comfort Service? What are you doing in my basement?
Standing behind our work.
It's 9 p.m.
At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation, we take pride in our work. If you need heating service, no matter the time of day or night, we're here to help with 24/7 emergency service.
So you're just going to stand behind my furnace?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you hand me those paper towels then?
Absolutely. For heating service or HVAC maintenance, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Every spring brings promises, and every spring delivers surprises. This year, the Cardinals are writing a new story, and there will be plenty of surprises. Matt Pauley is in Jupiter with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This is Megan Lynch. 250 doctors go to Ophthalmology Associates. That's why I trust them. Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Neovitin began with one doctor's mission to help others feel their best. After years of caring for patients, Dr. Ken Ribicki, a St. Louis physician, created Neovitin, a line of multivitamins designed with quality, safety, and everyday wellness in mind. Each formula is made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients to support real people living real lives. Discover the difference today with Neovitin, available at Schnucks, Deerbergs, and neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Unlock a brighter outdoor space in 2026 with Chesterfield Valley Nursery. Let us be your trusted partner for all your landscaping, lawn, and gardening needs, empowering you to create a haven that brings joy and serenity to your life. From landscape design to property maintenance to our garden center, we're here for you. Houseplants, tree shrubs, organic soil mixes, gardening and plant classes, and more. Chesterfield Valley Nursery's Garden Center has what you need no matter what the season. Visit us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday hours start in March. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for all class and sale updates.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back at it on a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Just a few minutes left on this edition of the program, continuing to come your way from Florida and Cardinals spring training, where it was off day today. The campus, everything was closed down. Things are going to pick up again tomorrow. The team is going to play an exhibition game against the Nicaraguan WBC team led by Dusty Baker. So that's going to be fun to see Dusty managing against the Cardinals coming up tomorrow. The Blues are going to get back at tomorrow as well. They're going to have a late game in Seattle. They just played Seattle a few days ago. Their first game back from the Olympic break. They won that game by a 5-1 score. They got on the practice ice earlier today. Jim Montgomery spoke with the media. Let's play back some of what he had to say. We saw Robert Thomas back in the lineup on Sunday when they beat Minnesota by a 3-1 score. Really didn't have a whole lot of practice time leading up to that. Had the Olympic break, then had to step away from the team for a little while due to some personal reasons. So he was maybe not quite as acclimated to game action as you would have liked, but it was pretty impressive, according to Montgomery, really what he was able to do in that game against the Wild on Sunday.
Yes, he impacted all three goals, and it was very noticeable, some of the transition plays we made through the neutral zone that, he spearheaded. So, yes, it was very noticeable and very impressive in his first game back that he was that calm and poised with the puck.
And from a big picture perspective, Montgomery said there really were a lot of things to like about that win against the Wild.
We won 56% of our battles. That's 2 to 3 games where we've won 55% or more, and we've won both. And then the third period, the way we managed the game, how smart we played on the road. Minnesota's a good team. They had more chances than us. Our goalie had to be good on the road. But we only gave them 6 straight A's. So you're going to live with that. Offensively, we didn't create enough. Second period, we bent, but we didn't break. And in the third period, it was just smart hockey. We didn't try and force anything offensively or defensively. We were patient. We got rewarded for that, and our top line made a nice play, win the game.
You heard him early on in that cut talking about winning puck battles, and that became one of the big topics of conversation today. I thought this was really interesting, listening to him talk through this and how he believes that winning puck battles really is one of the biggest keys for this team to have success.
I think if you can be over 51%, Yeah, that means you have the puck more than you're chasing it. I mean, the other team's trying to win battles too. Everyone's trying to be over 50%. So that's why 51% doesn't sound like a lot, but it means you're playing with the puck more than you're chasing it.
I guess that data has become more available. Have you started tracking that more?
Well, I haven't seen an analytics company that tracks one-on-one battles well enough, because it's got to be manned by a human eye to know exactly who won that battle. And there's other layers to it. The second quick that we talk a lot about, like, the analytics come from computers. So every time there's a face-off, that's a battle. And inevitably, every time I've looked through those analytics, someone that's really good at winning battles is 40%. And that just doesn't make sense.
So these are tracked in-house?
We're tracked in-house by our video department, led by Elliot Mondu and Ryan Stacey. And they review it after every game.
So the Blues are going to head out west. They play Seattle tomorrow, then San Jose on Friday, and then Anaheim coming up on Sunday. A bit of an injury update on Colton Parayko.
Colton's doing well. He's progressing. He's coming on the trip. Not a player tomorrow.
So that seems like good news that we'll likely see Parayko at some point on this road trip if he is going to be traveling. As he has not been playing, somebody who's gotten a bigger opportunity is Logan Mailloux. And obviously, it's been a little bit of a bumpy year for him. Acquired in a trade. They continue to be really, really excited about what he's going to become. But early on this year, it just seemed like he wasn't quite ready for the NHL level. Well, he has looked much, much better recently. And in fact, there's been a lot of talk about him and what he might be able to develop into. And as the conversation turned to Mailloux this morning, Montgomery talked about just how much better the play has been from Mailloux here recently.
Yeah, he's more assertive, and it's just confidence. With Parayko out, he's getting more ice time. I don't know how much his ice time has jumped up. I don't know if it's 4 minutes or if it's more than that, but he's getting penalty kill reps. You're just into the rhythm of the game. And when you're going right back out there, you don't have time to get in your own head about something that might have gone wrong.
9 shots, I guess, on goal in the last 3 games, but can he shoot the puck even more?
Yes, he can. He needs to be shot ready even more. He's got a really good one-timer, but he only uses the one-timer when he's up. We want him to pound it when he's on his strong side as a defenseman even more, kind of like you see Falk do.
Is that a little bit more of still that young guy, maybe deferring, I guess? Or
No, I think it's just not having practiced it enough and not understanding that what that shot gives the team offensively. In junior hockey, American League, you have more time to get that puck and walk middle and stick handle and let it go. In this league, if you do that, the lane's closed, and now you got to throw it back behind the goal line.
Is this just the perfect example, though, of just patience with a younger guy when earlier in the year fans were just expecting a lot more from him?
Well, it's almost, he's starting to take off the same time that Bolduc took off last year, not to comparable with the trade, but that's what happens. Like, not everybody comes to this league and is Celebrini. It just doesn't happen, It's the best league in the world. And good players, really talented young players like Logan Mailloux, they're going to figure it out because they're that talented and they're that competitive.
Mentioned the fact that the Blues knocked off Seattle their first game back from the Olympic break when they won 5-1 at home. And Montgomery says in this game coming up tomorrow, they are hoping to be able to replicate some of the things from the last Seattle game.
We were in a favorable matchup. They had played the night before. There were 2 games to start off on the road. Now they've had a couple of practice. They beat Carolina. So we're going to face a much better team, and they're going to be at home. So the challenge for us is going to be, can we replicate how many battles we won? We were 56% against them in the game 1, and we got to try and be, again, above 51% tomorrow.
And then last thing, the NHL trade deadline, it is coming up on Friday. Sometimes we forget that people are human beings and they've got emotions and all of that. I like listening to Jim Montgomery talk, and I think he just says things that maybe a lot of coaches out there don't always say. And he did admit that with the trade deadline kind of looming and maybe the emotional impact that is having and just sort of the cloud that is hanging over this team leading into the deadline, that at times he feels like he does have to adjust the approach a little bit because that trade deadline is just a few days away.
I think as a coach, you can't be too hard on, like, there was mistakes made out there today that if they were made in another day, I would have stopped the drill and really talked to the people about it, because there were some habits that were not as good as we would like at times today, but you understand the human element. Sometimes people's minds might be somewhere else. So you talk to them like in between whistles while the other group is going, instead of blowing it down and slowing down practice, because you understand that you need to get through practice, and you also understand the human element of it. Everybody knows it's coming.
That is Blues coach Jim Montgomery speaking earlier today. And again, the Blues are going to be out at West for the next few days. At Seattle tomorrow, at San Jose Friday, at Anaheim coming up on Sunday. That is just about going to do it for this edition of the program. A reminder for you, we are going to have a short show tomorrow because we've got Billikens basketball, and that means we are going to be done at about 6:45 or so tomorrow. Cardinals are back at it tomorrow. They are going to match up against the WBC Nicaraguan team. I believe tomorrow's broadcast is going to be on the 11:20 a.m. signal, not on both 104.1 FM and 1120, but it will be on 11:20 tomorrow. It's actually going to be myself and Stephen Carey on the call of that game tomorrow, and looking forward to that. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow right here on KMOX.
KMOX, delivering accurate, timely